Oh, hells to the yeah. We are live, and today is March the 2nd of 2022. I am ready to do this early and right on time. Actually, earlier than right on time. How about that? I'm happy that you guys are here. So, let's do it.
Are you ready? Call your mama, call your papa, call your friends. The festivities are about to begin. Boom!
Oh yeah. Sorry. I was moving stuff around. I was like, holy shit. Why did I hit the intro 5 minutes earlier when I wasn't ready? Well, we are already here. And we are going to do this. Did it get the camera on? Pin. Alright, let me click it. Hey, shut up. I just started the show, so shut up. Dogs. I'm gonna start barking when I go live, damn it. The hell? Shit. Why did I have the hoodie on? It's not that cold. It's chilly, man. Last 3 days it's been cold over here in Florida, USA. What we're gonna begin is with squeaky earth. That's the most important thing. Big shout out to Papa Frog. He say, mob it, mob it. Mama Frog says, mob it, mob it. And Baby Frog, he goes, mob it, mob it. Let's do it. Wee. Wee. Shout out to the squeaky earth, now populated by frogs. That's a reality that we all have to deal with. Squeaky earth is populated by frogs. Let's do the chilling and the shout outs. Thank you everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. You are here all early, and I thank you very much for hanging in with me, for choosing me as the place to come in and hang out for a few hours. I will appreciate if you can support the channel by clicking the like button, sharing the show. Sharing the show is very, very important. I didn't even share the show on Discord, so I'm gonna do it right now. You can share it via YouTube. You can share it on YouTube if you got a big channel, right? You can share it on Discord servers, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want. And you can also call your mama, call your papa, call your friends, call your neighbors, and tell them that the festivities have just begun. I will like everybody to hit the thumbs up under this video. I will thank you very much for that. It's a easy, free, and convenient way to help the channel to grow. And you can support me with money that we need a lot. By we, I mean me. I am behind on everything. It's a struggle. It hurt me when I lost the main channel. I'm like behind on everything. There was a few $100 that actually helped me. I haven't been able to get them back, you know. We'll get there. So if you want to support, you can throw me a little something on PayPal, Super Chat, become a member, all the good shenanigans. Check on the links on the description box and consider becoming a member. That out of the way, the man himself, a troll god by the name of John Hansen, was here first in the chat box. Shout out to big member of the men category, John Hansen. Shout out to Big Blue. I saw him hanging out over here in the chat. I cannot scroll the chat box up anymore. I don't know why. Devil's Advocate, Leo is here. Farmer's Boy, Rachi 50, freezing here to had a layer to up to go out to the snow. Damn. I thought there were dinosaurs in the squeaky globe until someone said frogs the other day. Bad eyesight. Yeah, this a squeaky earth. This one looks strange because it's got a lazy eye. But yeah, it's okay. I like lazy eye frog. Appreciate that. And thank you properly to Rachi for sharing the show the other day. Out of nowhere, I said like, "Hey, I'm subscribed to you," so I said like, "Hey, Rachi 50 shared your channel, your video, your show, something like that." Very good looking out. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. They did you wrong the other day in a chat box around. I don't appreciate that. People are butthurt. I know that when Rachi shows up on a chat box, more than 2 people are gonna start tagging her. When I show up in a flat earthers in a non-Glovers channel in the chat box, I know more than 2 people is gonna tag me. What am I gonna do? Tag them back and try to argue and to tell them the points. And by argue, I don't mean fight or disrespect or insult. I mean argue to have the discussion. But then some people are really snowflakey and they get really butthurt. Oh, she keep tagging me, and I'm gonna time out. The hell, man? Grow a fucking, thick skin. Deal with that shit. If you're in this neighborhood, you gotta deal with the tagging. Now, if somebody is actually tagging you to disrespect you, calling you names and doing all kinds of shit, that's it's fair. But me, if I'm a moderator, let's say in I don't know, Conspiracy Cat channel, which I'm not, and then I read and anybody that I disagree with that don't have a range or tag me, I say like, no, you don't tag me, time out. I don't like what you say, time out. The fuck is that? That's disrespectful to the channel owner. If I have revenge in somebody's channel, it's just to, I don't know, I feel free to maybe post a link, and then, maybe to tell people like, hey, just chill out a little bit, don't personal attack or something, just hang out, just have fun. But people getting butthurt and take, just abusing a range because they think they got the power, because they, it's bullshit. So if you're in this neighborhood, you're in the chat boxes, you got to deal with shit. There are 2 things you can do. 3 things. You can stay, deal with it, interact, and engage with the people tagging you. You can ignore them, totally ignore them, completely. You can block them. Now, if you have a range and they don't, you cannot block them because that will delete them, right? You can just ignore them. Ignore them, don't read them, don't address them. Hopefully, the channel owner or another moderator, it will tell them if that person is being disrespectful to you. Let's say I got a range and you are not, and I keep calling you, you fucktard, you fucking dumbass, you this and that. I mean, really, is the channel owner not reading that and seeing that I'm being abusive of my power of a range? That's not right. If I'm giving people time out for no fucking reason, that's not right. And that's why I give every single person here a range so everybody can feel free to post links, shield their shit, and have fun and engage and troll responsibly. Fucking A, it's not hard to figure out. Oh, damn it. Why did I have to rant? And yes, we're live, Farmer's Boy and Merle. The other Merle.
I nearly panicked for a minute there.
You thought I had a recording going, ignoring you.
No, I wasn't looking at the screen. I thought, Merle's in here? What?
Other Merle.
Yes, this is the true other Merle.
All is good, all is good. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Good.
I'm doing good. I'm just sad Farmer's Boy and I are here, but Jumungus isn't yet.
Humongous is lurking in the background. He's just he's properly typing something in a notepad without any mistakes, so he can copy and paste over here. He's how he really feels. Why am I trolling now? Is that responsible trolling? That's good.
I need to start doing that because, like, I know what I'm saying, and you start typing and you like leave out words, and I'm like, I don't remember leaving out those words.
Yeah, sometimes type it and then read it. Like you think you're doing it right. Like, yep, no, enter. What the hell did I just type? You know, a bunch of typos and missing words and shit. Punctuation is horrible. You don't know where you go with that, you know.
Particularly when you can't edit it after. It's like Twitter. You write something out, you post it, and then go, shit, no, too late.
I hope I just trolled you responsibly.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I want to ask people on YouTube, because I click on a timestamp somewhere in a video a few days ago. When I heard it, I kind of spoke. I interrupted to read a super chat or something, and I sounded really loud compared to the others. I usually don't hear my own shows back, but I want to ask the people, and this is kind of the normal talking me, a little, being hyped and louder than usual. Is it really overwhelming my voice over the others? I don't want it to be. I actually want it to be there, just even or maybe slightly lowered my voice, just to, that's my way of trolling me, keeping my voice a little lower. Yeah. So please let me know if my audio is coming a lot louder than the others. I don't want it to be there. Blue is in the house. How are you doing, Blue?
Hello, Jose. How are you doing?
All is good. All is good. Excellent. Thank you. A few days ago, I asked you a question, and then all of a sudden, everything got just disrupted, and you just couldn't get it. Let me try this again. Right, put you in the spot, Blue. You are having fun doing putting up a handful of uploads, kind of dedicated for a certain group, because for some reason your presence, your name, and your arguments trigger the bejesus out of them, and it's kind of funny, and you made some little clips about them. What do you think about that group of people? Do you want to tell us about it? What's going on with
that? Yeah, well, you're talking about Try Thinking and Bev and SE Montreal and Rakia and all that group. And, they've got a dandy little cult thing going on over there. Bev's the professor, and he's teaching class day by day about logic or this thing or that thing, whatever he's on to. Geometry, but he's a one-trick pony. All he's got is level is horizontal, which of course it is not. So, but he's been pretty. They've been sort of rude to me, I think, and so in return, I thought I'd just have a little fun with them and stick a few little short videos together. I got another new one coming out here in a few minutes, and just making fun of some of the silly stuff those guys do. That's kind of the story.
All right, that's good. I heard the other day, I was hanging out in the chat talking to some people in there, and they were on to you, just listening to what you say, and they were trying to not twist the words, but interpret what you were saying different way. Every time they look at a video, they interpret it their own way. It's like very strange what they do, when they look in a videos and trying to find a little misspeak, a little mistake in the way you pronounce a word or something. A bunch of weirdos over there, man.
It's pretty childish. It really is. But it's a bit entertaining. That's the only reason I do this anyway.
I like how you triggered the shit out of them with the clamping on the option of the clamping of the Google Earth. Oh my God, man, they were on and on with that shit.
Oh yeah, they're not quitting either. It still goes on and on. And then I remembered that a couple of years ago, I did one on when Quantum Eraser and Nathan Oakley first decided to come out with that silly shit that Google Earth was a flat Earth model. I did that video that showed everybody how how Google works. There are features in Google that nobody ever uses, but that's one of them. when you come up, when the thing comes up, you can draw a line or a path or whatever you want to. It'll automatically clamp that thing to the earth. Well, what that means just simply is it's just following the surface of the earth. But you can unclamp it and reference it to an absolute altitude if you want to. And that's how you can see the profile. That's how you can see that Earth's not level. Well, Earth is level. Earth is not flat, not horizontal. And I had forgotten I did that video, so I pulled that thing up and revamped it slightly. Just put a front and a back on it and republished it. So I feel certain that that's going to trigger the crap out of them too. Because they acted like I just thought of this the other day. Or shit, I did it two and a half years ago. In fact, after I did that video, QE and Nathan shut up about Google Earth being a flat Earth model. Is that you?
Yeah, I got a question for you. Say I were to level my horizontal, then would they be the same thing?
No, absolutely not.
What if I also leveled my divergence? Would it still diverge?
I believe divergence would diverge. Yes.
Okay. What if I leveled my smushing? What would happen then?
I don't know what happens with level swishing, smushing, squishing, whatever all that stuff is. I don't know what happens. I really don't. We would need Lemon to tell us.
Lemon bird.
I noticed the past few days the summoning people works. I don't know, but it might show up.
Tosses.
Let me stop my camera. I'm gonna screen share a clip I got here, and I don't know. We'll play like minute at a time, and you guys, give us your thoughts. I know this video clip is gonna trigger some people too. This is another old school little classic that I found. And just look at the title of the video. How level is sea level? How about that? How you like that? Encyclopedia Britannica.
Right off on one.
Farmer's Boy, is my microphone, my audio really loud?
It's a little louder than usual, but it's perfectly clear.
Okay. All right. Well, let me screen share in the main computer, and I'll do my little tweak to lower my volume a little bit. But again, 30 seconds. You can say shout out Chris Berry over there, Farmer's Boy. Who's your favorite?
I thought Lemon Bird was his favorite.
Are you giving Chris Berry a shout out, Farmers? I thought you were. Uh-oh. You really don't want to do that. Okay, you guys see the screen share, right? Yeah, I see Farmers and Blue is watching. Good.
Do you know how level is sea level? Let's see, play here. I'm gonna play right here. Boom. Can you hear that? Anybody? Can you hear wind sound?
Determining the true level of the sea is not as simple as it might seem. The surface of the ocean is never at rest. Its level changes with each passing wave. Tides also change the level of the sea. This drop of 7 feet took place in 6 hours. Because of such constant fluctuations, the true level of the sea can only be determined as an average. This average is computed from long-term records.
Wait, he says something interesting here. I want to hear it again.
Passing wave.
Okay. Listen to what he says.
Determining the true level of the sea is not as simple as it might seem.
Not a simple. Why?
The surface of the ocean is never at rest.
There you go. The surface of the ocean is never at rest. Leo, I heard that before.
I think I've heard that before too.
Right.
I've said it millions of times, I think, at the behest of everyone in this room.
Yeah, I mean that makes a whole lot of sense to me.
So if it's not at rest, then how can it be level?
I mean, yeah, how can it be like horizontal, flat, and straight the way they say?
Well, yeah, they stopped. They kind of have stopped going to that, saying that at rest the ocean is level, and I point them and I say, "Can you show me a portion of ocean that has no energy being put into it?"
Yeah, because they say and you ask that question because they specify. They say, like, yeah, but when the water is at rest, it's always level. And when we talk about the oceans, well, the oceans are never at rest, and we have said that before. They say, like, yeah, they are. Sometimes they are at rest. Yeah, they are. No, never. They never are. Yep, good phrasing there. All right, let's hear a minute at a time. Let's see if it get interesting. I heard the first minute. When I heard that, I said, yeah, I might play this in the background.
The surface of the ocean is never at rest. Its level changes with each passing wave. Tides also change the level of the sea. This drop of 7 feet took place in 6 hours. Because of such constant fluctuations, the true level of the sea can only be determined as an average. This average is computed from long-term records. Stations have been set up along the shores of oceans all over the world to record changes in water level. Each measuring station houses an instrument called a tide gauge.
Anybody heard of that tide gauge? And just give us from before we hear what it is. Well, what you know about a tide gauge?
I've heard about it, but I never really understood what it really did. I've heard about it. I mean, that's all. I'll be honest. That's all I've heard about it. But
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Tide gauge. Let's listen a little bit to see what what we go with this. Big shout out to everybody in YouTube land. If you are watching this and you just joined, please click a like on the video and share the show and support if you can. All right, let's play a little bit more here.
A pipe extends from the tide gauge station down into the water. In this model, we can see how a float rides up and down on the water inside the pipe. The float responds slowly to changing levels outside the pipe, thus automatically averaging the effects of small waves. The float is connected to a pen that traces a continuous record of the changing level of the sea.
Any thoughts, anybody, so far with that? And if you guys want me to pause or stop at any point, please let me know. I'm gonna stay on mute because I got my chest. I was coughing a lot last night, and I hurt my throat, and I feel like freaking Brian's logic with the. I fucking hate it. Anamorphic Mind with a $5 super chat. 48 hours till Jose. New movie premiering. I am Batman. Actually, Anamorphic Mind is gonna be about 24, 26, 27, 28, 29 hours. I'll be sitting on the movie theater watching the movie. Batman. I already got the ticket for tomorrow, Thursday at 4 p.m. Florida time. I cannot wait. I'm Batman. I'm vengeance. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $5, brother. Yeah, that Logic's cough got into me, man. The hell?
It's contagious.
Whoa, man, I hate it. Mob it. Sorry, I had to do it 3 times. I'm gonna keep playing this. Let me know, guys, if I gotta stop it. Just holler.
One day's tide cycle on the beach just seen looks like this. Another day like this. And still another day like this. Obviously, the tides are not the same every day. One day's tide cycle on the beach just seen looks like this. Another day like this. And still another day like this. Obviously, the tides are not the same every day. So to find the true level of the ocean, we have to know the average of its changing levels over a period of many years. This long-term average is called mean sea level.
Stop it every few seconds because this one is not like public domain, so I might get in a little trouble, maybe copyright claim or something. But I'm just playing it in little segments. From Encyclopedia Britannica is from 1970. I don't know. I don't think I'll get in trouble. We're kind of analyzing for the education criticism purposes. So I think we'll be all right. Mean sea level. Are we going to learn a little bit about what mean sea level means? Maybe. I mean, I will learn a little bit. I never pay attention. I feel I'm more of a flat earther than a lot of flat earthers because lots of flat earthers are explaining this and some of them pay attention. So they know about mean. I don't know what mean sea level is. So
I've
going to be
never
learning.
heard that either. So,
You never heard that term, really?
Well, like I said, I'm not great at science, but that one I've never heard of. But actually, I'll kind of look into that too now.
Go to the ocean, the NOAA site, and it shows you what the mean sea level is, what the high sea level is, what the low sea level is of every location around.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'll look that up on my phone. So yeah, you guys continue.
You're reading the East Coast and across the Gulf, and even across the Lake Pontchartrain, and see the different levels.
No, it says mean sea level. That means sea level is mean.
That's good. Let me, Blue. What do you think? Can you give us the meaning of mean sea level in a few sentences?
Mean is nearly a replacement for the word average. Mean sea level is a very long-term measurement. He's going to tell you how many years here in a minute. But typically, at any specifics you're talking about, measuring on an hourly basis, literally, the level of the sea over a period of maybe 15 years. And that's what determines what that mean or average sea level, what the average mean sea level actually is.
Oh.
Let him talk, though.
Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I just want to pipe in, and I want to agree with Chaiki, but I need a citation for that, Chaiki.
We all know that the sea is mean. Fucking A. Take people away, swallows people, and drowns people and shit. I want to shout out Six Spider. He just joined the server. I never heard your name, but you can talk if you want to. Just jump in whenever you feel like. Boom.
Yeah, the sea is a cruel mistress.
It is.
She'll drown your ass.
Mean motherfucker. It is, yeah.
Oh yes, I've been stung by jellyfish. That thing suck. So
Hell yeah,
yep.
man. Let's see. Let's listen a little bit more. See what we got here.
And it is from mean sea level that all land elevations are measured. Since all the oceans are connected, one might assume that mean sea level is the same everywhere. But is it? At Panama, the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans are only 50 miles apart. A good place to compare sea levels. Tide gauge records from each shore show that there are times when the difference in level between the two oceans can be as much as 12 feet. When the tides are averaged over a period of years, mean sea level on the Pacific side is found to be 9 inches higher than mean sea level on the Atlantic side. How can we account for this when we know that all oceans are connected? What natural forces can hold the surfaces of oceans at different levels?
Cha cha cha. How you like that? You know, the cliffhanger.
Oh, suspense.
It was suspenseful, I will admit.
Right? It's like, oh shit, what is it he's gonna say? We never heard of this.
Tune in next time for the answer.
Yeah, actually, I like that the way he presented that. I'm gonna go back a few about 10, 15 seconds and I'll let it roll now a little bit. This is gonna be good. Just remember, let me know if I need to stop it. I'll stop the video. You guys can comment on it. Here we go.
For a period of years, mean sea level on the Pacific side is found to be 9 inches higher than mean sea level on the Atlantic side. How can we account for this when we know that all oceans are connected? What natural forces can hold the surfaces of oceans at different levels? This tank represents a large body of ocean water held at different levels by a divider. When we raise the divider, their levels equalize. But if we fill one side with cold water, and the other side with hot water, to the same level,
this is good. Predictions. What did we just say? We got a tank divided. He put cold water in one side, in the left-hand side of the screen, and he put hot water in the right-hand side of the screen. Now he's going to lift the dividers. What do you think will happen? Thoughts, please.
I think the warm water is going to suck the cold water in.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the warm water will go above the the warm water will go above the cold water. But I think, but that's my only prediction. So,
Anybody else?
Yeah, but the hot water will not suck.
But what it suck? Okay.
I said it would suck, but yeah.
No, the cold water will push the hot water.
Well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah. I'm waiting for feedback on the chat box. I mean, everybody's just engaging with each other, so not holding you to it. But I thought somebody was going to tell us this is going to happen. Nobody commented. I gave it like 30 seconds. There you go. Brian Leakey. Cold water will rise. Very good, Brian Leakey. How about that? I mean, I don't know if it's right, but very good for answering and giving your prediction. That's good. All right. 6:23. Let's go back here to 6:15. A few seconds before. And he just put cold water in the left, hot water in the right, and it's divided. Here we go.
Sure. The same level.
Gesundheit.
And then lift the divider. We find that the cold water is a little heavier than the warm. The two connected bodies of water balance each other at different levels.
Is that what y'all were expecting to happen? I thought he was going to lift the whole thing, but makes sense. That makes sense like that.
Yeah. Where did Brian Leakey go wrong?
When he opened his mouth.
That's funny, but easy now. That's funny though.
No.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. That was mean.
No. It's when he woke up. That's when he was wrong.
I'm pretty
Brian
sure.
Leakey. I don't think Brian Leakey was expecting this to happen, because in this case the hot water is higher now, see, and the cold water is just remain lower. So how we see it that Brian Leakey thought that the cold water will rise, that will make higher, right? Rise means higher.
Yeah, well,
didn't work out your way, man.
no.
Makes sense to me because it's less dense on the environments.
Yeah, I mean, cold water is more dense, so
Water reaches its maximum density at around 2 degrees centigrade. I think somebody can look that up and tell me. But
can I measure the density of water with a chronometer?
No, an inclinometer.
You can take what you can figure out what time the water is with a chronometer, but you can't measure the density of it.
Dang it!
Brian Leakey was making a joke. He say hot air rises.
Oh, that's so funny.
It does rise.
Sure.
So there's hot water.
He verifies that every time he opens his mouth.
When you're a flat earther, you should probably try and avoid jokes about topics, because nobody can tell when you're joking. If Blue had said something ridiculous, you might think, you know what? He's joking.
Now, Tao software said, but ice expands. I agree with the ice expands, but now it's not. I mean, it's not in liquid form anymore. We're talking in this test is liquid water. What we're talking about, I guess. All right, let's see. Let's see if anything changes or how long it takes. I don't know. Well, I haven't seen this. Espérate, hold on. I think this is gonna be good. Hey, guys, share the show. I think
the two connected bodies of water balance each other at.
I think I saw a salt container over here. We're gonna have some salt added soon. So call everybody. We get into the juice of this one. Here we go.
Different.
When will the egg come into play?
Oh God.
Shout out to salt.
Now let's add salt to the water on one side and add fresh water to the other side until both are at the same level. Again, when the two are...
Here we go. As again, the left-hand side have salt water and the right-hand side has fresh water. Which one will be higher level than the other?
I don't think they're gonna mix.
So, salt lower.
Can I phone a friend? Jose, can I phone a friend?
You can if you want to, yeah.
Can I phone Riley? He'll know.
Try Riley. He must know.
Yeah. But when you get the answer, then try not to interrupt to say, that you don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest.
I don't think they're gonna truly mix.
You don't think they're gonna mix the salt water and the fresh water?
Well, it doesn't happen where the rivers meet the ocean. There's a point there that they don't mix.
They don't mix quickly. They do mix.
That's right.
Yeah.
And where's the part in between the Atlantic and the Pacific that they don't really mix?
I really don't know what to say. What will happen in this one? I think the fresh water will be higher than the salt water. So we got the salt water in the left, the fresh water in the right. Let's do this. Let's play it and get it done and over with. Here we go.
To the other side until both are at the same level. Again, when the two are connected, they maintain different levels because salty water is heavier. This time with the divider lifted, if we increase the air pressure over one side, we force the water down and the other side rises. Water levels can also be affected by air currents. When water piles up against a barrier, its level rises. In nature,
you got to keep breaking it down so we don't avoid any copyright issues. We got into the end, that was actually a couple of nice tests with water. I've never seen that done before.
It's actually a pretty good simple experiment too, to be honest.
Do you think Brian Leakey is taking notes? Do you think Brian Leakey, do you get a little fish tank that you can put a solid divider and do a few different tests with different types of water, hotter and colder, salty, sweet, Kool-Aid water, anything that you want, like mix, put in different sides and see and do the prediction before it happens. What do you think will happen, and then do the test? That'll be cool if somebody did that. And the Brian Leak is like the main person. Maybe Rachi 50 want to do that. She got a little fish tank. Try to get in a clear camera in focus and record yourself doing that. That'll be cool. I'll watch the shit out of that.
Having colors in it would really be cool to see how they blend.
Yeah. Good times. All right, let's hit play over here.
Differences in water level result from the same causes. For example, cold water carried by ocean currents meets warm water. Fresh water from heavy rainstorms can change the saltiness of the seas. Large rivers do the same where they empty into an ocean. The ocean surface is slightly depressed under areas of high atmospheric pressure.
And as we just saw, the more pressure is added in the area where the air pressure is, the water tended to lower, to get lower more, to get pushed down or pull, whatever you want to call it. So the air pressure above the surface of this body of water will make an impact on the water level. Is that fair to say?
So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the things that happens in a hurricane. You've got an extreme low pressure center right there. All that does is cause the sea level to go even higher because the air pressure is low.
Right.
Very cool. And that's what now I see, that these little clips were smart because we did a little test. Let's say I did do this test to see what will happen in this small scale control environment, the difference with salt water, fresh water, the pressure, and all that shit. And then now it shows in what happens on in reality, and how we can associate one with another. That's cool. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Where the pressure is low, it rises. Where strong winds pile water against a shore, sea level rises. Because these and other forces are at work on all the world's oceans all the time, mean sea level differs from place to place, which explains why mean sea level is higher on one side of Panama than on the other. This difference in mean sea level does not affect the operation of the Panama Canal, because the canal does not connect the waters of the two oceans. Through a system of locks, ships entering the canal are raised 85 feet from one ocean to an inland lake. They are then lowered through other locks to the opposite ocean.
Any thoughts? Sean Smith, well, he want me to rewind this a little bit. Yeah, I know there's a lot of information in this Panama Canal. I'm going to have to go back a full minute and try to listen. What do you guys hear that is resonated with you somehow, That's interesting. If anything specific. Sean Smith got something. Sea level is not set around the world. Yeah, man. Yeah. See that? Let's see.
It does vary. Not by a lot. The difference in the Atlantic and the Pacific is some number of centimeters, but it's still not the same.
Yep. True that. I'm going to play the last minute again, and we'll carry on with that. 3 minutes left. I'll play 2 minutes, and then we'll pause to play the last minute. Here we go. I'm going to play 2 minutes straight.
Which explains why mean sea level is higher on one side of Panama than on the other. This difference in mean sea level does not affect the operation of the Panama Canal, because the canal does not connect the waters of the two oceans. Through a system of locks, ships entering the canal are raised 85 feet from one ocean to an inland lake. They are then lowered through other locks to the opposite ocean. Each lock delays the movement of ships through the canal. So, for many years, engineers have been studying the feasibility of a sea-level canal that would have no locks. Such a canal would connect the waters of the two oceans, and that raises some interesting questions. What effect might the 9-inch drop in mean sea level have on such a canal? And what might daily tidal changes do to the water in the canal? What other forces at work on the world's oceans might affect sea level?
All right, gotta break it down just because. Big shout out to everybody in YouTube land, and shout out to Doofus for documenting some interesting segments in the chat over here in the boom. What do you guys think so far? We got 1 minute to go. I'm just gonna 52 seconds to go. This has been a cool little video. Not the best one, but it's interesting. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a bad video at all. I actually learned quite a few things, so yeah, it's a good video to learn about sea levels and all that stuff.
So if I was a conspiracy person like flat earthers, what would I do to tear apart these videos and provide evidence for them?
Well, first of all, how many frames are you going to take out?
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about every little point made. What could I say? Because thinking as a flat earther, you'd want every little minute point that someone may never have heard of to talk about that point, and then say, well, because you don't know it, the earth has to be flat.
I'll have to get it back onto that. I don't know.
What do you think, Moyoc? You've been dealing with this for a long time.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening at the moment. What'd you say?
So one of the flat Earth gotchas is they'll pick out a minute point in this video that you may or may not have heard of, and especially if you have not heard of it, then they'll say, therefore, the Earth is flat because you haven't heard of it. That's been an ongoing thing for the last 5 years I've been here. What kind of things do you think you could pull out of here and say, oh, since you don't know that, that's flat, the Earth has to be flat?
I don't know. I guess you could say something like, well, we don't know what the salinity count is on either side. We don't know
I
about
think a
the
flatty
temperature
would just
difference.
ask what the difference is. I hear it's only like 8 inches from Pacific to Atlantic. So what is that? 8 inches over 12,000 miles? That's still pretty flat.
No, it's 8 inches over like a couple of hundred miles.
Well, half of the Earth's circumference is 12,000. So that's 8 inches over at least 12,000 miles of ocean from Atlantic to Pacific.
No, that's not. That's 8 inches over the width of the Panama, for God's sakes.
I heard it was a difference of Atlantic to Pacific of 8 inches.
Yes.
That's the width of the Panama Canal.
So you're saying it's 8 inches through the width of the canal?
Yeah.
Okay, where does the Panama Canal start on the west side? It starts at the Pacific, right? And then the east side, it lands in the Atlantic, right? So Atlantic and Pacific in the width of Panama.
100 miles or something.
100 miles?
I thought it was...
I don't know.
8 inches for 100 miles.
Let me find it.
Yeah, hold on a second.
I'll measure it on Google Earth.
Let's see what Wikipedia says.
Here's the question I have for you, Lemon Bird. The surface of the water may appear to be flat, but what about the sea floor? Is that level and flat, or is it mountainous and not flat?
They say most of the ocean floor is abyssal plain, which is still pretty flat. So either way, it's flat.
Can we
Mariana's Trench?
Can we hit a pause in here because we got 1 minute left for this video? I don't know if you want to share my screen, what I'm sharing on Discord, Lemonberg. We got 1 more minute to finish this video we're watching, and then you guys can have the floor because it's an interesting topic. But I want to give a big shout out to Black Sabbath for hitting me up with $1 super chat. Yeah, it's been tight. Not a problem, man. It's always good. $1 is $1. I hope everybody watching. We got 50 people watching. If everybody hit me up with $1, maybe $5 each, that will make a big difference. So please, consider supporting. Open your wallets, open your heart, and give to the boom. Let's finish watching this 1 last minute. Here we go.
Did you just say give to the boom?
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna play now. Boom. So much expectation for that. That it was over when it was over.
That was a letdown. The ending.
Yeah, it was kind of like
It's like they're like, we're done. All right, just
yeah.
We're done with the stuff. We're done.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll share the link for this archive page that with the video is on, and you guys, can look at it on your own and analyze it. You might find something that we miss in here that is pertinent to the topics. And shout out to Nicholas Roberts. Hello, are you new, Nicholas Roberts? I am new. Welcome back to the show. And big shout out to Prono1990 for the $1.99 super chat. Enjoying the show. I am Marble Mermaid on Discord. Marble Mermaid! Hey, thank you for the $1.99, brother. Good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, dude. I don't mind giving money out to people I enjoy. So
yeah, I appreciate it, man. Like, just help, man. It adds up, man. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. This is entertaining, and as I said yesterday, you know what? A place for people to come and hang out, be entertained, talking about the topics we are interested in, and learning in the process. Lemonbird, were you listening to the small presentation about how level is sea level? Your thoughts?
It said it's slightly higher from Pacific to Atlantic, but as far as I can see, it's still very flat, especially if it's going from Atlantic to Pacific at 8 inches, or like these people are saying, just for the length of the canal, how the length of the canal could be different than the length of the ocean itself. I digress. Either way, it appears that it's 8 inches of curvature over these oceans, which appears to be quite minimal compared to the curvature rate that they give us, if that. So the rest of the level differences could be from the composition of the water, electromagnetics, stuff like that.
Electromagnetics. Okay.
Yeah, rub a balloon staticky, put it next to a trickle of water, and the trickle of water will go and deviate toward the balloon. So if you're talking about something that's provable, electromagnetics appears to be it.
When you say provable, what do you mean by proof?
Something that moves the water in some sort of tide-like fashion. Salty water would be electromagnetic and be deviated towards, say, an electromagnetic sun or moon. That appears to hold more promise than just gravity itself.
So where's the big-ass balloon, Lemon?
The moon or the sun?
Yeah, but that's quite a far ways away. You have to get really, really close with the balloon in order to influence the water.
We'd have to accept these distances and the quality of the field, the strength of the field, how strong it is, may also be a fact.
Don't measure that strong a field to affect water from at least thousands of miles away.
I'd go with that since everything's electromagnetic.
Of course you would, because
it's electromagnetic. That appears to be pretty satisfactory.
Of course it is, because you have no proof of it. You're just making shit up.
I'm making up electromagnetic? Okay. I think by makeup, you mean making connections that other people in the establishment aren't willing to make because they're committed to gravity at all costs. I think there's a difference between that and making stuff up.
Making connections as in not having any proof of this, that the strength of this field you say exists. So you're just...
Well, we're losing our grip of a half Gauss or maybe more.
Sorry, Blue. Go ahead, man. Can you ask that again? I kind of stepped in.
I was just going to say, the magnetic field is upwards of half a Gauss. That's huge, isn't it?
True.
Legal swing.
I mean, I guess
of course, it could be the fact. Of course, it could be the fact that these gyres that exist in the ocean, take water from the Atlantic up the eastern seaboard of the U.S. This part of the Panama also, and seawater is more dense the further north you go. You know why?
I guess density of water could come from the salt itself or the temperature of the water, making it a little bit more dense.
Where it does come from. Yeah. The salinity of the ocean changes as you move further north.
They kind
and
of
the equator, you get a lot of rain, and not a lot of evaporation. A lot of rainfall, and that tends to dilute the salinity of the oceans. All around the equator.
Lemonbird, think about this. Celine Dion is in a boat in the salinity of the ocean watching a Celine Dion eclipse.
That's a tongue twister. I did call the Selenelian eclipse the Celine Dion eclipse.
Yeah, I know. And you meant it.
Hey, Jose.
On Google Earth.
Hold on, guys. Blue, go ahead. Let's finish your point.
Just for your information, on Google Earth, at that point in Panama, it's about 40 miles, depending on exactly how you measure it. But the entire width of that is only about 40 miles.
Interesting.
When you're surveying in Panama, which sea level do you use?
Yes.
I mean, that would make a difference within 50 miles using two different standards.
Hey, Jose.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
I in YouTube live chat, I just posted a link for you of a Creative Commons website, which is royalty-free attribution, and you can search for videos on that website with that link, and you can watch them on your channel, and you won't have any problems with getting copyright strikes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Where do you post that in the YouTube?
YouTube links.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. I'll look it up later, man.
And they're free HD and 4K video clips.
Ooh. Nice. Yep, you're looking out. Yeah, I can use clips and for intros and do little, transitions and shit. That's good. Appreciate it.
Anyways, go ahead, guys. Sorry, I just thought I'd help Jose with that.
No, that's actually helpful, dude.
Chris Berry is on point today. He's taking bodies down today. He's winning to everybody in the YouTube chat box. Shout out to Chris Berry. Is that happening? You think that's a good assessment of what's going on there?
No.
I can't even see it, but I'm going to guess no.
Well, he seems to think that because the difference in the equatorial measurement from sort of top of Earth to equator is 14 miles, or 74,000 feet, as he keeps calling it, then anybody flying an aircraft will suddenly notice that it's gone up by 74,000 feet, which is quite ridiculous.
Yeah, that does.
It's not like there's a 74,000 foot tall mountain suddenly in front of the aircraft,
I mean, he's still claiming that the Walter Bislin flat Earth model is accurate.
What, by conveniently ignoring the explanation Walter Bislin gives for how he had to cheat and invent things to make it sort of work?
Exactly. We're going to need new principles, gentlemen. New principles.
Oh, shut up, Lemon.
Yeah.
You have to do is simply break all known physics, and then you can make it work.
Yeah, and that's the complete explanation that Walter Bislin gives that the likes of Chris Berry just seem to ignore.
I got to give a shout out to Black Sabbath dog on screen right now. Very big, healthy looking dog, man. He got pants. Shout out to Glover Mommy for pointing that the dog has pants like implanted in him.
I have a question for Lemonbird. Lemonbird being a flat earther. So Lemonbird, here's my question to you. If I'm standing on the very tippy top of Mount Everest, which I think stands about 25,000 feet or something like that, and I look down and I see clouds, and as I'm standing there, I notice the sunrise through the clouds. My question to you is, if the sun is 3,000 miles above Mount Everest, how is it rising above the clouds?
It could just be a washout from glare. I mean, when glare overrides your eye or the sensor, you can't really tell what's going on. There's just so much glare overpowering what you're seeing.
I'm talking about looking at it with my eyes, not with the camera.
Glare happens on the camera as well, but you'd have to zoom in to see what's actually above or below what. Everything's just so glared and compressed. It may look like one thing, but really be something else.
I'm talking about looking at it with my eyes, not a camera.
Leo, you're like cutting the last end of every statements of Lemon Bird, and your microphone is really loud. I just realized that. It's giving me a little bit of.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was on. But he keeps on bringing up cameras, and I'm saying I'm not using a camera. I'm using my eyes.
Yeah.
And still, in order to have a listenable, enjoyable show, we must allow one person to finish their statements before we jump and say ours.
So, Leo, if we're just going to repeat our propositions back at each other, I'm going to say this for the last time, and you can say whatever you want afterward. Glare on the eyes or the camera. Zoom in to see what's really going on, okay?
I'm not using a camera. I don't need to zoom.
And he is correct. He's not using a camera. He's using his eyes. I mean, you don't have glare in your eyes. You can have maybe a bad vision, but he's more talking about his eyes. So
you're saying you can have glare on a camera, but not on your eyes? Why? Both of them utilize lenses and surfaces that have to interface with the light. That doesn't make sense.
I want to give
a glare on the eyes or the camera. Zoom in to see what's going on.
That's the explanation. I mean, we will take it or leave it. I mean, we're not gonna keep going at it at the same point. I mean, it's just not gonna happen today. But go ahead and then Chris Berry join because something he wanted. He got something to say. So can I? Who was that? Go ahead.
When Lemon Bird says glare, to me, when you think of glare, it means to spread out and to, fill up the space. But when you say compress, that is the opposite of glare, is it not?
Whatever we say glare is. As far as I heard from Southern Israelite, we don't even have a theory of what, if anything, glare is. Is it happening through the atmosphere? Is it happening on the surface of the camera? Is it happening here, there, off of the firmament? Where the hell is this glare coming from? But anyway, like you say, with compression, that would deal with the visual angle. Compression, though, compresses and smushes a lot of things into one area. So the sun may actually be above the cloud, but just looks so compressed into it that you can't tell.
For our optics guys, I'd like to know if I increase my sensor's dynamic range, does glare go away? Basically, as far as I'm concerned, glare is more of a product of the sensor than any of your lenses. But I don't know that for sure.
As far as I can tell, we don't even know what glare is.
You're not one of the guys who knows about optics.
Yeah.
Can we go? We might go back to this. This is a little slightly different topic, totally from what we were on. Maybe that's what Chris Berry was intended to follow what we were talking about earlier. But one observation I got to tell Lemonbird from what I see is that you are appeal to authority a lot, Lemonbird. And by this authority, I'll give you two examples. You appeal to authority on life is short on telling how things disappear from the bottom up. Now, I heard a few times Southern Israelite about the glare and the sun and all these things. It's very strange when you don't appreciate the method of appealing to authority, which the way you call it, but you're actually applying it to yourself.
Appealing to authority is necessary. Since people can't do everything, they're going to need to appeal to authorities that have supposedly done the work that they can't do. The appeal to authority would be justified if you can show their credentials at the very least, and or how they're qualified to make some sort of statement that others can't. I'm not appealing to these people based off of the authority of their popularity, saying just because the president believes this, I believe it too. I think that their logic is sound and reasonable.
Hold on,
principles appear to work. So I feel quite comfortable appealing to these people.
Now, last point. One day, maybe you want to entertain us on showing some credentials of these people that you trust about, or that they have authority over these topics. Maybe another day. It's not, mandatory now.
Can I just say one thing, Jose?
Yeah,
I'm just going to say spoiler. It's never going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm going to mute myself. Hold
on. Chris, what's up, man? We came here early, huh? Do you enjoy that clip that I presented about the water level?
I wasn't watching, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention.
One day, rewatch it. It's good. It's good.
About the hot water and cold water?
Yeah. I mean, it was the whole thing. The whole thing is a compilation. I had to interrupt it for copyright. But it's good little documentary. I posted the link up there. One day when you come back to the video, scroll in the chat and find the link. Watch it.
Right. So anyways, I joined to talk about this just absolutely ridiculous notion that at and near the equator is 14 miles higher than the poles. I mean, think about the adverse effects that would have on daily life of ships and airplanes and basically, those kind of things. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Altitude is defined as height above basically sea level or the ground. So let's say you're in an airplane and you're flying at 5,000 feet or 10,000 feet, whatever is legal in a small prop plane, and you're coming up on a mountain that's 13,000 feet. Okay, 13,000 feet above sea level or altitude or whatever it's called, elevation, whatever. If you don't adjust your airplane to go 13,010 feet, you're gonna run into that mountain. Okay, that's obvious, basic common sense. However, what we're told about the globe models, because Earth's spinning at the equator, it's an extra 74,000 feet sticking up into the atmosphere. I mean, just on its face, it's ludicrous.
No.
But think about if you're flying at 30,000 feet in an airplane and you're coming up on a 74,000 foot high mountain wall of water. Okay, you would have to adjust for it. Airplanes absolutely do not adjust for that. It's ludicrous. It's ridiculous. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I got a point. I got to point something. And then Earth is Live, if you want to answer to Chris Berry first, and then after you, maybe one more person, and then Chris Berry can have the turn back. But he was interrupted a lot in the last minute. He was talking. I heard Farmer's Boy, Earth is Live. I heard Blue, Left Lane. A lot of people wanted to jump in like when he was almost done. So let's try not to do that because it will get worse. And so when that happened to me, I'm gonna want to repeat myself and extend it and just keep monologuing just to piss you off. Let's try not to interrupt people because if they keep talking, I don't blame them because they were interrupted. Earth is Live, you first for what Chris Berry just said.
I don't think it's like a mountain, Chris. I think it's like a gradual change. do you really think? Yeah, that was really funny. Do you really think it's like when we get to the equator, there's a mountain of water or land that we have to go over top of? Is that what you really believe?
Is it 74,000, around 74,000 feet, or AKA 14 miles, around 14 miles higher than the poles?
How long do you think it would take for something as a gradual change to get that high?
No, it doesn't. God, why are the Globers so obsessed with it? It's a gradual change. It's a small,
I'll tell you,
1,000 miles per hour. Why are you interrupting me, Chaiki?
Because the answer, I want to answer your question very
Jose,
simply.
just talk for 2 minutes about interrupting.
The answer is no. It's not higher 25,000 feet. Higher. It's not.
74,000 feet.
Whatever. It's not higher. It's farther than that.
Big numbers scare this guy.
It's not 14 miles. It's not 14 miles higher at the equator.
Higher, not higher. No, it's not higher.
Well, what is it? What's 14 miles then?
Farther from the center of the Earth.
What percentage is that?
Which means it's 14 miles higher than the center of the Earth. Than
what
percent?
You defined the base which we measure from higher as sea level.
No, or the ground.
You did.
What percentage is that of the Earth's radius? Do you know?
Right.
No, let's not talk about percentages. Let's talk about
it is. No, let's talk about percentages.
No,
let's talk about real world. Let's talk about
percentages. If a plane is hold on, stop.
You realize that the Earth. Do you realize Jose,
you just talked about interrupting. We can't.
Yeah, you're interrupting me this
You
time.
had your chance to talk, Chris. You had
No,
your
I
chance
didn't.
You're interrupting me
respond
this
to you.
time.
Jose, get a hold of it. Get a hold
I
of
wasn't
it.
responding to Earth is Life.
Harry, let him explain.
We need to get our shit
retarded.
together because I'm gonna let left lane take the lead, and he tell me, Jose, mute this person, and I will do it because he's the man to call the shots. We gotta get a hold of ourselves. We cannot continue just shouting and yelling. It's early. The show is gonna be on for a little bit longer.
This is obviously a trigger for them because they're understanding. They're finally thinking about what this would mean if you're in an airplane flying at 30,000 feet altitude, which is above the water or the ground. Now you're coming up on water or ground that's 74,000 foot taller, higher, whatever you want to call it, than where you took off from. Now all of a sudden, your 30,000 feet is 44,000 feet less than this water.
Where do you measure your altitude from? Where do you measure altitude from?
Yeah, this variance or deviation begins
I
at
don't care
the
where you measure it. Measure it from wherever you want.
Okay. Yeah, just talk all over me. This variance begins at the pole, and it's gradual from the pole to the equator. And it's fatter at the middle than it is at the pole, and that's all there is to it. And it's the altitude and the barometric pressure and all of it follows that same gradient. Thanks.
Do you realize if the Earth was a cue ball, it would be...
Oh my God, Blue's answer is
Do you realize that if the
hilarious.
Earth was the size of a cue ball, it would be legal for tournament plays that round?
Let's hear if Chris want to answer left lane. But first, big shout out to Anamorphic Mind. Anamorphic Mind with a super chat say, Chris Dingleberry just told us he's an idiot without having to tell us he's an idiot. Shout out to Anamorphic Mind. Chris, about the point that left
they
lane
want to give you
made
money
here.
for that, yeah. Well, I wasn't really listening, but it's just absolutely ridiculous. So Blue's answer might be the funniest I've ever heard. I'm applying an ellipsoid to the Earth, but a spheroid to the atmosphere. It doesn't have anything to do with the atmosphere. I mean, part of it does, obviously, because you would be, if you're at 100,000 foot altitude, you're out of your flight zone of what you can even do. But it really has to do with adjustment. Planes don't adjust for this change. It just makes no sense.
Can I say something really quick?
Chris,
if you're
when I can speak.
If you're flying,
go ahead, Blue. You can go after me. You can go after me.
Again, it's so simple.
Chris,
if you're flying towards
hold
mountain,
on.
All right, guys. Blue, go ahead, and then Blue first, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, go ahead, Blue. Go ahead.
He's gone. He's dropped. You got a pilot in the room, and he wasn't allowed to talk.
Yeah, he was cut off in the little shouty.
He might be the most sensitive baller I've come across.
Oh, fuck off.
No, you know what? I might be, because I remember a week ago I was on the level on the web server. I was trying to make a point and they kept interrupting me. I said, like, dude, I just want to say my statement. All right, go ahead. And once I opened my mouth, somebody just interrupted me. I said, all right, good night. Thanks for the opportunity. I dropped. Every time somebody just keep interrupting, I drop. And I understand that it's fucked up. It's annoying.
I would love to have a pitch at this, because I think everyone is right. This is a really funny point that Chris is making here.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that Blue would concur. You know, flying at 20,000 feet above sea level at the equator is the same as flying above 20,000 feet at the poles. There's no difference.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I mean, Chris, if you're walking up a hill,
so there's no adjustment.
Your head is going to be the same distance from the ground the entire way up the hill.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Your body,
from the ground, Chris, from the ground. Your head is going to be the same distance from the ground as you walk up the hill.
And do you notice you're going up and down as the hill changes?
Depends on the steepness of the grade.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously, your head's going up and down. The plane would have to be going.
Dodging the point.
No, the planes fly according to density of the atmosphere, which doesn't change.
If my head is 6 feet above the surface of the ground and I'm walking up a hill, my head is going to stay 6 feet above the surface of the ground that's below my feet. That is a fact. I mean, you can't change that.
Your head is adjusting based on the movement of your body on the hill.
My head to my feet is 6 feet. The ground is under my feet. As I walk up that hill, the ground will stay under my feet. Therefore, my head always stays 6 feet above the ground.
Well, we're not on the ground, are we? We aren't on the ground.
We are referencing a specific point. That's what.
Let's say you're flying towards that hill.
You're flying at the same elevation. You're flying at the same elevation above the ground.
Let's say you're flying towards that hill and you don't adjust. What happens?
It's a hill. That's different.
Then you're at a different elevation above the ground, Chris. Then your elevation is changing.
So you have to adjust for the change of the supposed ground.
But when airplanes fly, they stay at the same elevation.
No, they don't. You have to adjust.
Yes, they do.
You have to adjust for that.
Crap, Chris.
Not when you have an airplane trimmed and you're flying level. Level means flight level. It means it's above the geoid.
Exactly. So if the ground is changing,
the geoid changes.
Your airplane. Okay, so if there's a mountain, if you're flying towards a
mountain is different than the.
Why? That's 3 times you've interrupted me, Peyton. That's the idiot.
Because you're full of shit.
No.
You don't know what you're
talking.
Typical.
There it is. 4 times. 4 times. Thank you. Oh, somebody muted him. Thank you. If you're flying towards a 13,000-foot mountain, and you don't adjust for that, you're at the same height. You're at the same elevation. What does your airplane care?
If you're flying at cruising altitude of 35,000 feet, why would a 13,000-foot mountain matter? Because you're still...
No, I said if you're flying at 10,000 feet.
I got what Chris is saying.
The cruising altitude of an airliner is 35,000 feet, which is above the height of that 13,000-foot mountain. They wouldn't have to adjust.
Leo.
Up on screen, seeing right here.
Planes can fly at 10,000 feet. You know that, right?
Right, I'm talking specifically about a cruising altitude of an airliner.
No, we're talking about multiple examples.
I think we're all missing the central point here, which is you're talking about a ratio of 1 to about 450. So for every 450 miles you travel, there is approximately about a 1 mile change in shape. And that's just basically making it a really even linear type of relationship. You're not looking at you say, yeah, you'd notice if you're walking up a hill. Would you notice if it was such a slight incline that really it's almost imperceivable?
Walking up. Why are we talking about walking up hills? We're talking about airplanes flying above.
No, we're talking about you're trying to make it sound like it's a change in elevation, which it is not.
Airplanes, if you don't adjust,
there is no change
they don't care
in
what's below
elevation.
you.
Is there?
The airplane doesn't care what's below it, whether it's a mountain, a river, a valley, or whatever. It's not going to change elevation.
What do we measure elevation from, Chris?
The airplane isn't going to adjust itself.
Don't dodge that question. What do we measure elevation from?
It doesn't matter in this example.
What do we measure elevation from? Because that's the question you want to avoid, because you know if you answer it, you're going to look very silly.
Well, I'd like to point out the flaw in his statement, which is the airplane doesn't care what's below it. It's my understanding that it cares about the pressure of the air below it, and then that's on to what Foolish is getting at, and that's, I think, how it measures the altitude.
Exactly.
All right, I just got to read one comment. One comment, this is one quote that was highlighted by Doofus Manfred with a super chat, and I quote, the sea is higher than the sea level at the equator. Chris Petty, 2022. Thank you, Doofus.
No. Well, first of all, you read the quote wrong. There's no 2022. And second of all, I didn't say that. Doofus, he always puts me in quotes that I didn't say. But no, airplanes don't adjust themselves.
Chris, can you look at my
flying
screen?
level.
What's your training in aviation?
If airplanes adjusted themselves, that would be a massive safety hazard. Imagine that. You're flying at 10,000 feet, and your airplane all of a sudden is adjusting itself based on what the ground is doing. Is that ludicrous to you? So
what's
you're
your
coming up
training
to
in
a
aviation,
mountain.
sir? What's your training in aviation?
Well, this is common sense. Why am I being interrupted constantly?
What's your training in aviation?
What's your training? Okay.
Yeah, only one time. Yeah, it's only need to, if you want to paint us a shield, you ask 4 times within a span of 15 seconds.
And he didn't
That's
answer.
Okay. And he didn't answer. Now, If he decides to answer, he will answer it, but not after a fifth, sixth, and seventh time and continuously asking the same question. It's not going to change anything.
Can I just ask Chris a question? I need his advice on something.
Go for it.
Can you have a look at my screen?
Jesus. All right.
So I added something to this model, and it's actually a condensation.
Oh my god! Are you changing the topic?
No, it's actually no. If you weren't rude, you'd realise. So I added something to it. It's a condensation trail of an airliner cruising at 33,000 feet. Yeah, and I did it to both models, flat and curved. Now the interesting thing is, at 300 miles, it's this high. At over 1,500 miles away, it's still nowhere near the horizon, so it doesn't really match reality. But my question is quite simply this. This black path on a flat Earth represents an aircraft. Now, what are the three things that we... No, this is a flat Earth, so don't laugh at your flat Earth. So, what are the three things that we need to take into consideration in aviation for flight, Chris? Can you tell me really quickly?
No, go ahead. Tell me.
So one of them is lift, and it's a really important one, right? And can you tell me what lift is provided by?
No, go ahead. Tell me.
Right.
I'm not going to answer any of your questions.
No, because
you don't need to pull a Dr. Bob. You just need to go on with your presentation.
All of this pressure. All of this is actually required to understand aviation, something that you're just talking about. So the point here is 33,000 feet is a nice altitude for aircraft because of one of the other forces, drag. There's a lot less drag because the atmosphere's less dense up there. There is an issue though. Why don't you just fly higher and higher and higher and higher and even have less drag? Well, there's two problems with that. One of them comes from the lack of thrust, but the second is the lack of lift. Now, just like a fluid, which is what the atmosphere is, when the aircraft is flying through it, lift is generated by the wings. That lift is based on density of the atmosphere, and thus it's synonymous with pressure, because we've got 14.7 down on the Earth, like on the ground. We get a lot of lift really easy. When we get up there, lift starts decreasing because the air keeps thinning out, and the collisions with the air is what gives us lift. Now, the interesting thing here is, on a flat Earth, if I trim an aircraft and set an altitude, absolutely fine, it flies this 33,000 because it's sat at a density level. Now, the interesting thing there is what you can do with an aircraft is you can pitch it up, and if you don't alter the throttle or anything like that, after the initial climb, it will sink back down if you've trimmed it to the original altitude because it's at a level of density. Now, if we come over here to a curved Earth, that density actually follows the curvature of the Earth, which means so does the damn aircraft. It is not a mountain, like someone said to you many times. It's gradual curvature. Now, an aircraft doesn't give a shit about the topology of the ground. Well, it does if you're going to crash, obviously. It gives a shit about the air pressure, and the density gradient is the same with this gradual curvature or perturbation in this gradual curvature because it all starts at ground level. I'm done.
Wow, that was beautifully said. Wow.
I mean, it seems to me that Chris seems to think there's like a 14-mile high mountain suddenly near the equator that things have got to adjust to or they'll crash into it, which obviously is a really silly thing to think.
Wow, it's a silly thing to think that from the poles to the equator,
is that what you think?
74,000 foot difference in elevation.
Yeah, but you're talking about a change of like 1 foot for what, every 168,000 feet of travel.
But what is that? If you're flying from Alaska or someplace, far north to South America, like you're not going to notice this.
That's correct.
Massive increase.
That's correct. It's not that massive for one.
It isn't an increase in
74,000 feet isn't massive.
Over how many miles?
Increase in elevation again. There is none.
That's right. You're conflating elevation and the change.
Sorry, altitude. Yeah, altitude,
No,
height,
no,
whatever.
no altitude, no
Distance.
elevation.
You'd be better off saying distance from the center of the lovely
Fine.
globe Earth.
Distance from the. Oh God, so many assumptions. First of all, I'm not blue.
I just want to hear you say it. That's all.
Stingray's presentation is based on, I don't know how, I lost count of how many assumptions he has. The atmosphere follows the curve of the Earth. No evidence of that. No evidence, no measurement or evidence that the equator.
Don't
is
interrupt
14
NASA
miles.
by saying yes. Don't interrupt like that,
Jesus, weren't
NASA.
you muted? No evidence, measurements, anything physical, anything in reality that we have to take into account for this supposed 14-mile change from this quote-unquote center, another supposition, of the Earth. It's ludicrous.
It's incorrect. We've done soundings of the atmosphere, balloons from the atmosphere from all over the Earth. We know that the rate of change does not change according to your latitude.
I don't know what.
Yeah, exactly. That means that the density of the atmosphere is the same from ground all the way up.
That doesn't prove this.
Yes, it does.
No,
do you know when we
that's
actually
ridiculous.
That proves that when we're 14,000 feet above the equator, it's similar to being 14,000 feet above the pole.
Hey,
that's not what it.
Can I say something?
The atmosphere is linear.
Hey, Chris. Do you know if at one, let's say you had a 1 degree increase over, I don't know, 3,000 miles. Do you know how high that would be after 3,000 miles?
I don't know what you're going on about.
It would if you started off and you rose you tilted your airplane up 1 degree or whatever. You went up 1 degree, 1 degree incline for 3,000 miles. Do you know how high you would be after 3,000 miles? You'd be 52 miles in the air with just 1 degree. Do you think you'd be able to feel that change?
52 miles in the air?
Yeah.
I think you would feel it because the airplane would crash because it couldn't fly that high.
Exactly. Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
If you went up 1 degree.
The airplane would crash before it hit that high Earth's life.
It doesn't matter. He's not talking about an airplane. He's just talking about if you gained altitude at that rate. If you took yourself 1 degree from perpendicular, and how high would you be after 3,000 miles? He did not invoke an airplane. Please stop introducing problems that don't exist in this thought experiment.
Stop changing the examples. We're talking about
over that distance. So over that distance, you'd be 52 miles in the air. So do you think you'd be able to feel that 1 degree change after that distance?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think so.
52 miles, a change. I don't know where you're getting 52 miles.
3,000. You'd walk 3,000 miles at a 1 degree incline. Walk, drive, whatever.
Well, you'd be 52 miles up, you said, right? According to I'm just using what you said.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would. I don't think you'd be able to
Wouldn't
feel
you
that.
notice 52 miles up?
No, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No.
When you go on a mountain that's 13,000 feet, don't you notice the difference?
If you walked up a mountain and the base of the mountain started at one point and you walked 3,000 miles to get to the base, to get to the top of the mountain, do you think you'd be at the top of a mountain?
Well,
you got to walk across the whole United States to get up the mountain.
Exactly. You wouldn't notice.
What? How do you know that? Have you done this?
It would look flat.
This is stupid.
Is what NASA's saying.
The atmosphere would be different. The air pressure would be different. The temperature would be different. Like, yeah, you would know
with you. That's our point. I like your experiment. Now I'm starting to catch on, NASA.
Well, it's not an experiment.
I think he's wording the experiment wrong because you could tell, you could feel the difference, but could you tell if you had no other markers that you were walking uphill is how the experiment should be worded, because you wouldn't be able to tell you're walking up the hill until you got to the top.
No, this is the old misunderstanding the difference between sea level change and altitude. This is the difference between just curve and elevation once again. Only he thinks he's got a different slant on it, and he doesn't. He doesn't understand what the fuck he's talking about.
Well, I'm just saying, the word a little bit better is to say, do you think you could notice or feel the difference as you were walking? Because if you're at the top of the hill, 3,000 miles above the surface of the earth, you would definitely notice it, or 52 miles or whatever it is. You would definitely notice that difference.
It was about the rate of change, and there would be no difference between 10 feet and 10 miles.
No, y'all are.
Yeah, you wouldn't
weird.
notice the change.
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
notice
the
the
change.
gradual change over that distance.
Oh, because
The
you
gradual
wouldn't notice. Because after 2 minutes you wouldn't notice it, but after however long that would take you, 24 hours, you would notice it. So yeah, you're wrong.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, Lael just explained it to you. I can't believe Lael's
I'm not
on
talking
my
to
side on
Lael.
this one.
You
He's
just
having to explain
made
it
the
to you
claim that
guys.
you would notice the difference. We're talking about the
From
rate
start
of
to
change.
finish, you would notice
Not
the
talking
difference.
about whether you can breathe up there or any of that shit. That wasn't part of the problem. It was talking about
then there's
1
not enough
degree,
details.
1 degree incline. That's what the point of the
There's
question
not
is.
enough details to the hypothetical. Then is there?
You are conflating.
You're putting details in.
Your original claim was that we would have to adjust for a 74,000 foot wall of whatever at the equator, right?
Well, yeah, obviously you would.
No. If there was a wall, you would. There's not a wall. There's a gradual
So it's
increase.
It's not 74,000 feet higher.
I know big numbers scare you. I understand. What's the difference?
Well, no, I just asked a simple question. It's not
What's the
74,000
difference?
feet higher than the pole.
What's the difference in what's the percentage difference between the North Pole and the South? Do you know?
The North Pole.
That would be even a smaller. That would be a smaller angle, wouldn't it?
It's a very, very small percentage difference.
So this is actually this. You know,
It's a lot
you guys-
smaller than
the
1
Earth-
degree, right?
If the Earth
This
was a cue
actually
ball,
is a bulge.
if
The
the Earth
definition of this is a bulge.
If the Earth was a cue ball, it would be legal for tournament play. It is that fucking smooth.
Right. That's why I'm asking for evidence here on Earth, and not from God's
We have
perspective.
taken
of saying,
atmospheric-
oh, it looks round.
We have taken atmospheric measurements from all over the globe. There is very little difference. There's not the difference you think there is because
Well,
of your
that's actually a proof of mine. Exactly.
No, it's not. It's not a proof of yours.
Yes,
It's
it
a
is.
disproof of yours. Because
No,
we
it's
do not. Because you're not 74,000 feet higher, unquote, than you are at the poles at the equator. You
Well, then
realize
what
at
is it-
74,000
what does it
feet, you
mean?
wouldn't be able to breathe? There are lots of people at the equator right now
Exactly.
breathing quite well.
Exactly,
At
which is a
14
debunk of your globe. I
with
can't
this
believe you don't
no,
get
it's
that.
not a debunk your globe, you moron.
It is.
No,
You're
it's
saying
not.
your whole.
It's your
It
failure
is
to
not.
comprehend
It sure as hell is not.
So your argument is we breathe at the equator, therefore it just works.
I would like to point out
I can't believe you said that so stupidly.
Yeah, that is your argument.
I cannot believe you said that so
The
stupidly.
globe model. Here's his argument. It's circular logic. The globe model says it's 14 miles higher at the equator. We can breathe at the equator, therefore it's true.
It's no way
The fact that we see a
Not what
difference
he
in air
said,
pressure between mean sea level and say 10,000 meters is proof that we do not have a contained atmosphere. Therefore, the dome is wrong.
I don't. That doesn't.
To be and to be honest, it's only a 0.27 degree difference.
No, that's
Okay.
Point
Degrees,
15.
but what is the degree measured in?
So to get to 74,000 feet, that's what you said. The difference is right. It will be a 0.27 degree difference from the North Pole to the equator.
Have you ever been at 74,000 feet?
Oh, it will be
So,
half.
but 0.27 that doesn't mean anything. Degrees
you ever
don't
been
mean
at-
anything. Depending on
have-
it depends on the scale.
Have you ever been at 74,000 feet?
Nope.
I personally have not.
Okay.
I've been,
So-
whatever commercial airplanes. 35.
Have you ever seen another man naked?
Oh my god!
Shout out to Airplane. Shout out to Airplane. I'm sorry.
Give me a second. I think I'm wrong about that. Man. Give me a second.
Have you seen grown men naked? Get it right.
Yeah, there you go. Have you seen a grown man naked? Damn it, I missed that. Yeah, misquote is the worst.
The thing is it's interesting how there was utter silence when I made the point that the fact that we have a gradient in our atmosphere disproves that there is a physical container. And there must be there must be an attenuating effect on the atmosphere.
Well, if you want to change topics to that, we can, but that doesn't disprove anything. You can have a pressure gradient inside of a container. That's been proven.
Not without gravity,
multiple
you can't.
times. Oh, now
you
there's
deny
a
gravity,
disclaimer.
Chris, and that
now
is
there's
that
a
is
disclaimer.
that
How
is
are you going to prove
the
that?
effect of actually showing that if you have no gravity, you would have an even pressure in a container.
Have you ever
prove that?
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
How do
you know what Turkish revenge is? It's very painful.
Have you seen? You like gladiator movies?
Midnight Express.
Anyways, I gotta go.
Sorry, Chris. Come on, man. Come on, Chris. You didn't like that, man. Come on, you gotta answer the questions. Have you been in a Turkish prison?
No.
Do you like gladiator movies?
Yes.
Have you seen a grown man naked?
Oh.
No comment.
Wait a minute, is this in person?
Thank you very much.
That's a weird question.
I don't know.
I've seen myself naked, so yes. The answer is yes.
Oh,
grown man.
Hey, really quick. Hey, really quick. I was wrong about the math. It will be a 0.13 degree change.
But what's the scale? What's the scale? That's the important thing. Degrees don't tell you anything without scale. Huh?
So you said at the equator it would be 74,000 feet higher, right?
Well, that's just what the model says.
So
no, it
so if we walk from the walk from the North Pole to the equator, right, we would have to walk up an incline of 0.13 degrees to get to 74,000 feet.
So what evidence is there of a 14-mile high bulge?
Because it's been measured.
How?
You can look that up.
Topological surveys.
Oh, you say it's been measured, but I say when or how, and you say I can look it up. So in other words, you don't really know if it's been measured. You just said that.
I mean, what's the flat Earth saying? Do your own research. Isn't that what you guys said?
satellite
well,
data.
You made a claim. I've done my own research. I can't find a 14-mile high bowl. It's literally it bulges in the.
It's not
0.13
fucking tight.
I've seen it measured in photography. So you just take the Earth, cut it in half, and paste the two pieces together. You can see that it's there. It's been measured.
I'm looking for evidence on the Earth.
How about you go away, learn what it is you're supposed to be arguing against, then come back, because you aren't actually arguing the right thing. It's not a height difference. It isn't elevation. So until you can figure out just the basic thing itself that you're supposed to be discussing, why are you even discussing it?
Well, I'm just asking for evidence of a 74,000-foot bulge from the pole to the equator.
You've been told it's been measured, it's been surveyed geodetically, it's also measured through satellite geodesy.
Yeah, how would you measure it, Chris?
I don't know. I'm asking.
All right, satellite.
I've never seen any evidence. Well, satellite's not a measurement.
No, but they have sensory hyperspectral imaging. You can actually do it from parallax calculations, or you can have long-range LiDAR. So yes.
Well, you're giving me all the ways you can do it. I'm asking for evidence of it having been done, and any type of physical. Really, what we're looking for is physical evidence, right? What's the physical evidence that there's a 14-mile high bulge?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
From the pole.
So on a planet the size on a planet, let's say not Earth, because obviously Earth's flat, but let's say we found somewhere else that was actually a planet and it was spherical, and we had to measure this bulge to see if it, what kind of bulge was at the equator. How would you go about it physically measuring it, Chris?
You'd have to be on the planet, right?
Yeah, we're on the planet. So what do I use? Yeah. What do I use?
I don't know. I'm asking.
All right, now you're saying you want a physical measurement. I'm pretty sure you should have an idea, right? That is possible. So what would we use?
Well, you all are saying this is a fact, so I'm asking, how do you know it's a fact?
No, I'm saying now we are on a fictional planet. We've left the flat Earth. Now we're on a fictional planet, and it's a sphere. But there is a slight bulge at the equator. We're on it. It's got 24,000 fucking kilometers. How do we measure it? Tell me what we do. You and I are stood there. What are we going to do? Physical measurement. Go.
Satellite GPS data, please.
Satellite. Here it goes back to satellite. So no physical evidence on the Earth of a 14-mile bulge. Okay,
Right.
got
So right, physical.
I disagree.
It's up to you and me, Chris.
Hey,
We're going to do
back.
it. What do we use?
Before I have to go, I want to hear what Blue has to say.
You want physical evidence, Chris?
Right,
yes, please.
The Earth is an ellipsoid. Its radius should be increasing as we move from north to south, shouldn't it? A predictable amount, I might add. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would like everybody to stay on mute and don't interrupt. Allow Blue and Chris Berry to have a word for a few minutes. I know Chris has got to go very shortly, but I want to give the chance to Blue now. Please, everybody, let's go on mute.
That's what this ellipsoid thing's all about, right, Chris? The Earth is larger in diameter at the equator than it is at the poles. So its radius should be increasing as you go from north to south, correct? And by a predictable amount. Because you can actually measure that at the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge, and Jesse Kozlowski did that. The radius at the north end is about 100 meters less, 109 meters to be exact, less than the radius at the south end. It is totally consistent with the ellipsoid that we live on. You want a measurement? We got measurements.
Okay, so I think you're done. I don't think I'm interrupting. So your evidence of the 14-mile bulge from the pole to the equator is the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge.
I said that would be one of the ways that you would be able to see that the ellipsoid is increasing in radius. That's what I said. I didn't say I could prove the 14 miles. I said I could prove an increase over a distance that would be consistent with a 14-mile increase at the equator.
All right. Okay. Thank you. That's it. That's fine. I got to go. Okay. See you.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. I know everybody, it was like the animosity was really hyped today. So, yeah, it's what it is. It was a fun one today. So
and that's probably the soundbite he was looking for some bizarre reason. That's why I didn't interrupt.
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
Here's a question I have. Are there any places at the equator, any cities or land below sea level?
Don't know.
Does anyone know? Because what would happen to his wall of water theory if I was flying from the North Pole to the equator, but I was landing on a piece of land that's below sea level? Where's that 14-mile higher sea if I'm below sea level?
Okay, if you want the screen share, let me know. I see that you're sharing the Discord screen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just prior to joining and making a twat of himself, Chris started off with the whole talking about the pictures from space thing. And according to the nonsense he was chatting, he would think that this is a perfect sphere. Because there's no obvious indication that there's a problem. The edges of this, or that it's, not uniform or whatever, when you view it from a distance. But if you zoom in,
You're up on YouTube. Everybody's seeing what you're sharing. Good.
It demonstrates 2 points, this video. It's about how the horizon starts to look flat, obviously the closer you are to the surface, but when you get closer you can see the surface imperfections and all these little pieces sticking up above the surface, these imperfections. They're examples of areas where there would be a difference. And, it's not a uniform height. And some of the, the way some of the tiles stick up is really bad, so it would, be a bigger difference if you measured it across. Whoops, hold on. Than what you would get on the Earth, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Because some of the tiles are really badly sort of protruding from the surface. You would never know that when you get to this point. You don't see any of that. You just see a sphere. There's no way of telling. And this is the poor logic of flat earthers. Hold on. How do you stop sharing with this thing?
That's actually cool, man. Yeah.
You know, you get a picture that with something, a sphere. It is imperfect, but you're seeing it at such a massive scale and from such a distance that you're not going to see this tiny, tiny little imperfection. They always seem to have a problem with comprehending the idea of scale, or at least they want to talk like they don't understand scale, because we have to assume that there's no trolling when they say it. But I mean, how can you be this stupid for 5-6 years in a row, especially when something's explained to you over and over and over and over again? But, just because I had the video handy, thought I'd share it.
Well, there is an attribute, Al, that you're forgetting, and it's one of the most important attributes of being a flat earther these days. Your memory can only extend to a couple of minutes, and by the next day, it has to be completely clear again.
Oh, I know. I mean, they are goldfish brains, but in some cases, you just have to say, well, you just can't be that bad. You can't forget everything you've heard every day, especially when you give indications that that's not the case with other pieces of information you just so happen to remember to try and throw back. You know what I mean?
Well, a flat surface looks like a flat surface when you zoom in on it too. So it kind of weakens your argument that we can't tell whether it's flat, because at that point we can't tell that it's a ball either. So it kind of weakens your claim if your argument is that we just can't tell.
It's an address for your argument, Lemon. The flat Earth argument being that you can see a flat horizon means that the surface is flat. That's untrue, because it shows that you don't understand what a horizon is and how it would look on a sphere. And by using a sphere to demonstrate that it actually looks flat at the proper scale, disproves that argument.
But you have to be below the sphere to show the horizon rising up to the level of the eyes. On a flat surface, you don't have to be below anything. You can be above it and still see it ramp up toward the level of the eyes. So you're borrowing from flat perspective and trying to get below a ball to show some sort of similar effect that's deceptive.
Thank you for demonstrating once again that you do not understand either geometry or optics.
In what way?
Always. Any way possible.
Go past the blathering rhetoric. In what way don't I understand perspective or optics?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to say scale, which was the big point with that demonstration a minute ago. Oh, you have to be
a flat surface is flat when
if you're standing on the surface of a really, really massive ball, which is 25,000 miles in circumference, no, you don't have to be below it to see the surface in front of you for several miles.
But you were below the ball in that example. So can you show that while you're above the ball without,
it doesn't matter whether you're
down?
below it,
No, you can't.
Above it, or
the
anything.
horizon would rise up to the level of the eyes. While on a ball, it would dip down and away.
You're looking at a tangent, Lemon. That's what the horizon is.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So if you have to resort to mangling our perception and saying that we can't tell and deceptive optical effects, that really weakens your argument.
There was nothing deceptive about it, Lemon. You can call
you were
it
below the ball in the
through
current
your
models that we have. We're at the top of the ball,
or your own failure to understand the point. But it's not. There's no deception involved. It's just the geometry of the situation.
Lemon, can you view my screen?
Yeah.
You see this flat, beautiful horizon here that's over the ocean at the moment? It's actually off the coast of Africa. That we're in the center of this dome. We're in the center of these degree markers that are created, and we're actually sat just south of the coast of Africa here. And the ocean looks pretty flat to me, absolutely flat, except we're sat on this. And the thing about this, Lemon, no matter where I put it, it traces the exact path of the sun through the sky. And correctly. Right, gotta go.
Nope, duty calls.
Yeah, he gone.
He's got to show me how to do that stuff. Like I mess around with Blender, but he is really good. That is some crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's all about scale.
Yeah.
I mean, just the idea that you can think that you can have 3 miles of surface, assuming you're standing at the beach or something. Minimum of 3 miles worth of surface stretching away in front of you, and thinking that would have to just immediately dip down below you instead of following the rules of perspective like every other surface. Insanity.
It's getting a little heated in the YouTube chat box. Balance truths. It caught my attention, the comment that you typed. You say you're a snowflake bigot. That's over the line, man. You don't have to attack people like that. Now, maybe it's specifically for somebody, because maybe that somebody called you another name. But that's the first name that I read. The first comment that I read. Let's not do that to you or anybody else. And let's not drag me into it. You guys work it in the YouTube chat, deal with it. If I see that behavior again from anybody, I will give you a timeout. It will not be personal. It will be just to clear, so you can clear your act, take 300 seconds, meditate on it, and then come back clean slate. Boom. Shout to Chris Berry, man. He brought a little bit of fun. Now, look at the image. Lemonbird, I'm sharing my screen. Pontchartrain Bridge. This image has been up for a long time, man. When you see this, then don't you yell to you, the effects of curvature of the Earth at works.
We'd have to check this for refraction. Because you see the pylons in the same area, the electrical pylons curve back in on themselves as if it is some sort of refractive effect. And the hump that you see there is greatly exaggerated. When you drive over it, it's not that roller coaster looking thing. It appears to be some sort of refractive effect. Notice how one hump appears to be slightly higher than the other. It appears to be swamp gas in the ass refraction.
Swamp gas? Are you kidding me?
All right, guys. No, I need to jump in here. I need to jump. Yeah, man, Farmer's Boy, and okay, I think the three of you interrupted, and I want to hear Lemonbird. I didn't catch everything. Can you repeat that again? Let's do it. Take your time. Let's try to give me more details. And if anybody interrupts, I will server mute your ass. Go ahead, Lemon.
Lake Pontchartrain, Louisiana is a swampy, marshy area. That's why I've colloquially deemed this swamp gas in the ass refraction. Cold and hot water appear to merge in the Pontchartrain Causeway. Warm water from the Gulf of Mexico that the Pontchartrain feeds into, Lake Pontchartrain feeds into, and cold water from the spillway. This could lead to refractive effects, and like the Glober is trying to explain why we see too far, I can just invoke refraction for some sort of deceptive curvature effect. And also, when you look at this bridge from the side, it's flat. There's no curvature seen.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I wanted that. I wanted to hear that.
Can I ask Lemon what spillway he's talking about?
The spillway specifically, I heard that there's a runoff that spills into Lake Pontchartrain. That would be colder water than the warmer water that's saltier of the Gulf of Mexico. That could lead to refractive effects. So we need to check this for swamp gas in the ass refraction, gentlemen.
Cold, warm, or salty, not salty? Which one was it?
Yeah, that's what I
need. In warm temperature.
Guys, Blue is trying to ask a question and three people interrupted him again. Fuck's sake.
Somebody said cold and warm water. We have salty and fresh water. Fresh water, obviously, from the spillway, and salty water from the Gulf of Mexico.
So, what's the temperature got to do with it?
I need to go look for the spillway.
We have temperature differences and density differences. Aren't those preconditions for refraction? As far as I can tell, they are.
I'm just curious.
You
if
mean-
you could tell me where the spillway is? I need to confirm it.
Where it is, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
I just heard that there's water that spills into the Pontchartrain lake or whatever. That's what I heard.
Okay.
Sorry, so
go
refraction
away
is
too,
related
dude.
to salty or
Go
not
ahead, Chicky.
salty?
The density of the water when
No,
two
no,
different water
refraction
densities
is
mix,
refraction
and when two
related.
different temperatures mix.
Hey, is refraction related to how salty the water is?
Water density?
No,
not that
I'm
I
asking
know
you.
of.
Hey,
I think
listen.
there are refractive effects depending on the salinity of the water you're dealing with, though. But I don't know.
So refraction is related to salt water or not salt water?
I also pointed out temperature.
I
Refraction is
understand.
related to that.
I understand. You brought up a few things, and I'm asking:
Just
is salt
the
water,
density
fresh
with
water,
the
meant?
salinity and the temperature. Three things.
Okay, so we don't need the fresh water, salt water, right? We can take that away, right?
I need to see if there's some sort of refractive effect with the salinity of the water. But I'd
So
have to
you
look
think
into
the salinity of the water will affect the refraction above the water? Yes.
the temperature would at the very least. If we
I'm
want to
asking
go
about the
with that.
salinity. What you
The
said.
salinity?
Yes.
With the I guess that would be density of water. I guess it's dense water.
What's the density got to do with it?
I would say so because you're getting a different density of water.
Perfect. So
But I don't
density
know.
of water is changing the refraction above the water.
Density would affect refraction. So if the water is more dense, I guess you'd expect some sort of refractive effect, but I'd have to look into it. What do you
Wow,
think?
you've been a flat earther for I think 6 years, and you still haven't checked that. You still don't know this.
There's a lot of research in the flat Earth.
Sorry,
there's a lot.
I understand there's a lot, but this is something that
in
apparently changes refraction, which is what
flat
you believe. So,
Earth.
and you didn't check that. You had 6 years to check this.
So have you.
Hey, Seth, we
So
don't
I
need
guess
to
we have some
talk
more
about
research to
the
do.
salinity of water or water at all. Let's talk about the data points that was collected, and when those data points were mapped into a 3D program. And guess what? Refraction has nothing to do with mapping data points. So those data points were mapped into a 3D program, and the mapping of the program, when they put the points in 3D space, the bridge that was created from those data points looked exactly the same as Stanley's bridge. There was no refraction included in the data points. You don't need refraction, but it appears the same. The model of the bridge appears to bend.
I guess we'd have to see how the data points were collected. It looks like they used GPS. And as far as I can tell, GPS assumes what must first be proved for this discussion. It assumes a ball geoid model. So for a flatty, that's not good enough. We're going to need a laser.
Cartesian coordinate system, Lemon.
So GPS assumes what must first be proved.
No, it was a Cartesian coordinate system, Lemon.
How do you have an X, Y, Z coordinate without a center? How do you have a center without a ball? How do you have that assumption built into what you're talking about in a discussion where we're trying to discover whether it's flat or round?
You don't need a center, it can be based anywhere. In this case, it's classed as Earth-centered, Earth-fixed, but it is still a Cartesian system. And if you could use your brain to visualize these things, you would realize that a flat surface would plot completely differently in that Cartesian system than a curved surface would. It doesn't matter whether it assumes it's 6,000 kilometers or whatever, and it's at the center of the Earth. It could be 6,000 kilometers below the surface of a flat Earth, but the results would still differ because it's measured in a Cartesian system.
We've made a critical misstep in logic, assuming what must first be proved with a coordinate system with a center and a center of essentially a ball.
No, Lemon.
And so since we've assumed what must first be proved, we're going to need something that's a bit more neutral, like a laser simply going over the surface and deviating away from that straight laser standard.
Lasers are the shittiest attempt.
Lemon, I'm a little bit confused. When you say
using light,
Guys, there's a fundamental
a couple of points here from the original claims. First of all, you're trying to invoke refraction because of the way the weather is in the area. However, it looks like this in every weather condition, whether it's day, night, sunny, rainy, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the temperature is, and the temperatures were collected in a big spreadsheet by Soundly when he did his observations, and you can check that against the refractive index and so on. It doesn't matter what the conditions are, the bridge always curves. Add into that GPS measurement which matches, which, as Leo points out, is refraction independent. And just throwing the word refraction out there doesn't explain what you're seeing. If you want to explain what kind of refraction can cause the bridge to curve apparently down the way like that, we're all ears.
Hey, LK, I would also like to point out that even if there was a refractive index of 3,000, those data points are those data points, and those data points match the curvature of the bridge when you map it into 3D space.
Actually, if you're being more specific about it, the image of the bridge at the further reaches compared to the model, there's a slight difference because it's refracted. There's a slight lift in the end of the bridges in the photograph compared to the data plotted out, and that is accounted for by the refraction on the day.
I think we should ask Lemon if we say that the Cartesian coordinate system is centered or positioned at 6.2 million meters below the true North Pole. On a flat Earth and a curved Earth, what would be the difference? Why does the shape of the planet matter? Why does the shape of the Earth matter? What would be the difference? Don't just qualify it haphazardly. Quantify what the difference would be, because I can't see any other than the readings of the bridge would be incredibly different.
I'm just kind of curious, when you say Earth fixed, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Could someone help me?
6.2 million meters below the
the
pole.
Earth-centered, Earth-fixed simply means that the coordinate system is nailed to the prime meridian. So the coordinate system rotates just like the Earth does. Can't stand still, you'd never figure out anything, right? That coordinate system is runs through the prime meridian. Z-axis runs out through the poles, and the y-axis is perpendicular to X. And they lay, X and Y lay essentially on the equatorial plane.
So, like if I'm staying at 0, 0. Oh, okay. If I'm staying at 0, 0 and the Earth rotates, the Earth is rotating, but I'm still at position 0, 0, right? That position doesn't actually literally move to another position of like 0, 1.
You best hope you're not at 0, 0. That's the center of the Earth. But your position,
in reference to the ground.
Your coordinate in that XYZ coordinate system is always the same point on the Earth, on the surface of the Earth, on the surface of the ellipsoid.
If the Earth
That's what they mean
rotates,
when
so
they say fixed.
Yeah, if the Earth rotates, so does the coordinate system with it. So everything's relative.
Correct.
Right. So it's 6,000 kilometers or whatever is the first zero, right? So I'm 6,000. The surface of where I'm standing is roughly about 7,300 kilometers from the center of the Earth. Or miles,
or feet. If you're that far up in the air, yeah.
I'm about, I think I'm like 1,300 feet elevation where I'm at, according to GPS stuff that I have on my phone.
Well, the GPS stuff you have on your phone has already applied. It's taken the XYZ coordinate of your true position in that coordinate system, and it has applied the geoid and the ellipsoid to that to get an elevation above mean sea level. You don't see the full thing. There are some handheld devices that can output the XYZ raw data, but that's hard to get to. It doesn't do us a lot of good. It doesn't help me a damn bit to know that I'm 6 million meters, away from the origin. I just need to know what my elevation is above mean sea level.
Right, but
that's what all of us are looking for. That's the end result. But you can find, and that's what was beautiful about the work that Jesse Kozlowski did. Took the raw data. He's not using your basic handheld GPS thing. He's got $20,000 professional GPS shit that puts a file that gives the actual XYZ coordinates, raw data, so that everything is referenced to that Cartesian system. And when you do that, then you can see the shape of things.
The resolution was really high as well. When it was
surprisingly,
like 2 centimeters or something.
Say what?
The resolution on it, each point that he was taking, he can set the resolution on the device, and it's really high.
Yeah, doesn't his system?
That particular system he has, if it's stationary, okay, you won't do this with it moving around, but if it's stationary, it has sub-millimeter accuracy. Sub-millimeter.
Yeah, I knew it was
highly
accurate. And also, just one wee note, it's remarkable how this GPS system is supposedly faking the curve of the length of the bridge, but accurately measures the curve of the marine humps.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, that's the reason to see the post-process data. It gives you a very accurate elevation above sea level. That lake level is essentially sea level, so yeah, you see all the marine humps, you see everything exactly like they should be, and they're taken from that same XYZ.
Yeah, it's the way that flat earthers conveniently kind of ignore that part of the information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why my argument has always been: let's not talk about the image until after we've talked about the data Jesse collected and how, when you map that, the image matches what you've mapped.
All the image does is just open up more goddamn arguments about refraction and booming and atmospheric anomalies, and one piece of bullshit right after another. Same damn argument you go through with everything that has to do with visual observations. But there's nothing visual about GPS.
It's also worth noting that Jesse's kit doesn't just use the GPS network. It uses the other satellite networks as well for positioning. And that's how he's getting the accuracy, because multiple networks run by multiple nations are all agreeing that that's the position that he's at.
Well, you're talking about the use of GLONASS and GNSS. I think though, when Jesse actually made those measurements, he limited it just to the U.S. GPS system.
Oh, did he?
So that probably cut the accuracy down just a little bit.
Probably why he was getting
one thing you can't,
millimeters.
Yeah, and you can't do that yourself with your handheld GPS, because you've got to have a base station of some sort. It can be a virtual station, but you've got to have a base station somewhere nearby to give you corrections. That's how they get that accuracy. There's a network that Jesse was connected to that actually belongs to the LSU, Louisiana State University. I think the station he was listening to or connected to is one that's just over in the city of New Orleans there somewhere. But it's listening to exactly the same satellites that your GPS receiver is listening to. and it knows exactly what its position is. So it can see what the error is. Satellites aren't perfect. There's a little bit of error. It can be off, a few meters one way or the other. But once you've got that correction to a known point, and then you've got an offset that you can apply to all your XYZ data. It does it. Surveyors do this all the time. They'll take their own base station out and set it up over a known point, a known datum point, so it knows exactly where it is. And it is constantly telling the remote units what sort of a correction it needs to be applied. That's how they get their centimeter accuracy, or sub-millimeter for that matter. Impressive stuff.
And at those ranges as well, you also have to take into account relativity. So that's just proving more Einsteinian physics correct.
Yeah, it makes all kinds of corrections. But, it's also all open source material. There's nothing secret about it. You can build it.
You can build it from GitHub. There's tons of satellite stuff from GitHub.
Yeah, you can build it yourself, write your own code, do whatever you like.
Yeah,
but I will tell you this, no matter what shape the Earth is, there is no way in hell you can take the data that Jesse collected and make that form a straight line in free space. It will not happen. There is no point that you could center a coordinate system on that would show you a straight line on that causeway.
Hey, Blue, just in the time we've been talking about this, I've gone on my phone and downloaded a GPS app that logs GPS, clone, ASS, BEIDOU, SBAS, QZSS, and Galileo.
I think you pretty much hit all of them.
I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it has all of those. I just want to argue with the panel 2 seconds, and for the radio signal, just via a variable receiver at what is it, 855 megahertz or something like that, with the actual message structure, the schema. I challenge people to find that.
Oh, geez, I did that back in my college days, but that was like 20 years ago. Buggered if I got the source code still.
But make sure that you're not building a custom circuit with a decoder chip that passes you what you assume to be the raw packet data. That's not receiving the signal.
Yeah, straight antenna, plug straight into a USB socket, and then you take the raw data off of that antenna at that frequency and process it. That's what I was doing.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But I can't find any references to that today.
It's just not common because it's a right pain in the ass to do, and it's a lot of work. And the chips and things that you've got these days just make the whole exercise so much simpler. So people just don't do it. There aren't like reams of technology experts out there. This is one of the arguments for the cameras that SpaceX use, for example. It's just like nobody really cares about proving the shape of the Earth. What people care about is getting a picture or getting the value from that feed. So, why would the technology be built in such a way that's convenient so that some flat earther can make a point? It just doesn't work that way.
Well, that's why the experts can only do so much, because they have a mindset and a paradigm that they're already committed to. Heliocentrism that puts blinders on their eyes and make them ignore the obvious barrel distortion that makes telling whether the Earth is flat or curved kind of impossible.
No, Lemon, you're missing what I'm saying, right? The built-in assumption is that the physics work, and the reason why that assumption is built in is because it works. It's had centuries of proof. It's been shown to work time and time again. So we start from that assumption with modern-day technology because we know it works, not because we feel we have to prove it again. Why reinvent a wheel rolling down a road when we know wheels roll down roads, right?
But we know that lenses curve and distort the image. That's why we need a laser to check it. Even though lasers do bend, they certainly don't bend at 8 inches per mile squared. They're straight enough to help determine what, if any, curvature there is.
Total nonsense.
Hey,
it is total nonsense.
To go back to
You're
something.
wrong about lenses, and you're completely wrong about lasers.
To go back
I mean,
to
it's just common
something
sense. What was that, Leo?
To go back, I'm just did a quick cursory search. Stingray. In YouTube links, I linked a GitHub project that the guy codes GPS frequencies. Is that what you're looking for? Stingray, are you there?
Yeah. Allow me to read the README first. Chris,
Okay.
give me 2 seconds.
I just quickly typed in, GPS chip code and picked the first one that I saw that looked reputable. And so it might not even be what you're looking for.
Hey, Lemon, you still there?
Yeah.
Can you look in the chat, the Daily Boom chat, and there's a picture I posted in there. Can you tell me if that picture is barrel distorted?
Let's see. All lenses barrel distort as far as I can tell, but if you're saying that it's a huge amount of barrel distortion, let me see where you posted it. I'm looking at 1:16 after the hour. When you post it?
I'm screen sharing. I'm gonna put it on the screen share. I got it.
And I also have to correct you there,
There you
Lemon.
go.
Not all lenses barrel distort. I'm really sorry. Not all lenses barrel distort.
Barrel distortion, pincushion distortion, curved lens, curved warped image, basically.
Yeah, but curve doesn't mean curve. The effect of curvature with distance. It means a 2D transform.
So I'm looking at your picture, Earth is Life, and as far as I can tell, we can't tell. How high was this photo taken? Because we take high altitude balloon footage at 100,000 feet and it looks flat. So if you're taking this from a lower elevation and it's curved, I would have to call lens distortion. Because I think this is. I need to see consistent curvature. What's that?
Let me answer really quick. It's about 250 miles away from the Earth, higher than 120,000 feet.
250 miles, you say? Interesting.
And if you look at the top of the screen, that's a part of the ISS. You see that, Lemon?
No, it's not. No,
Part of the ISS. I'm looking for these photos. Let me see.
I got it on screen share right now. It's here in Discord, the image we're looking at. And this top part will be part of the ISS.
I see.
Marble Man, you had miking a little bit. You want to mute yourself?
Now,
sorry about that, dude.
Now, don't you think if it was barrel distorted, that top part of the ISS would be severely curved?
One would assume, but lens distortion can magnify away from the observer. You see a fisheye lens. It looks halfway decent up close, but far away, it's a mess. So, this stuff looks like it can get pretty curved and complicated.
But with barrel distortion, the farther away you get from the center, the more curved it would get.
So I need to see consistent curvature. As a flatty, it's just, I'm not seeing enough consistent curvature to even go with it. We see huge amounts of curvature at 40,000 feet, go up to 100,000 feet with our own high altitude balloon footage, and it flattens out. What's up with that? Where's the consistent curvature?
It doesn't flatten out.
It flattens out in that it looks flatter higher up.
Flat Earth liars who take screenshots from videos that do use GoPro lenses that are distorting the image and only take the ones that are the lower part of the frame and don't share the rest of it. When it's through the center, you know, it's basically a true representation. And this has been demonstrated hundreds of times. If you cherry pick what looks like a flat horizon because it's been distorted by a lens, that isn't a true representation of what the shape of the horizon is. You have to take it from the center of frame.
Well, before I go with them being deceptive and lying, I try to say, okay, what can seriously account for this without just outright dismissing their claim? I mean, saying that they're liars or deceivers, maybe, maybe not, but it's dismissive. It says we don't have to take your claim because we don't trust you. I don't know about that. Sometimes it's just cheap dismissal. Let's try to take their claim seriously and see what, if anything, can account for it. The curvature that we see may not be from liars at NASA, although I distrust them. It may be from the curve, warp, barrel distortion of the lens. They're in a studio showing you some CGI mock-up, or who knows.
But it isn't barrel distortion because that's not how this works. This distortion has a specific profile, and we know how a curved surface will appear depending on which part of the frame it's in, if it's above, in the center, or below. So all you need to do is look at it when it's in the center, which is the best place, and if it's curving, then there is a curve. It's nothing to do with the lens. And if it's below center of frame and it's convex instead of flat or concave, then it's curved convexly, because the barrel distortion runs the opposite way. We would try to bend it the opposite way, basically. So if it's at the lower portion of the frame, but still looks the way it does in this picture, the B-ball sharing, for example, then it isn't caused by the barrel distortion because it's going in the wrong direction.
So I guess the main thing we need to do is pan the camera up and down and see if it's warping up and down. Part of my problem with the major photos with a couple of the frames is it was bowing up and down, and I'm like, I can't tell if it's a lens artifact and or actual land curvature.
Cool, we can do that, Al.
Dwayne Kellum's done it with rectilinear lenses, and every high altitude image that you're referring to, these flat Earth cherry picked examples that I was talking about, if you get the original videos, the camera's moving around. It's impossible to not have the camera move around precisely because it's on a balloon. So instead of taking those cherry-picked single images out of however many hour-long videos, you look at the video, you'll see it does move around. And again, check it in the center or whatever, and you get your answer. Sorry, B-Ball.
Yeah, hey, I got a super time. Thank you very much. My mom bakes cakes. Appreciate the super chat. Well done to Stingray for burning Lemon the other day. Shut Stingray. Lemon, do you feel that Stingray have burned you a few times here?
Hardly.
I mean, don't mind if I just say something a second. I mean, as long as you guys continue.
We're gonna understand your little connection issues there, or microphone.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'll fix that in a second.
It can be a lot to absorb some nefarious plot to, hide the shape of the earth, to hide land or resources or people, or hide God or whatever. But it does look like we do need to look into this a little further, be it some lens artifact or something else, without going too crazy.
Well, and that's the thing I was going to say. I mean, you kind of say that we're the side of deception, but flat earthers have been known to lie, cheat, and deceive the other side just to fit their narrative. And that's kind of being that's kind of being a hypocrite right there. For me,
like
especially.
When specifically?
Well, I mean, the fact that Bob Nodell hides the fact that there was a rotation of 15 degrees, and then he says it's heavily bodies, but then it's something else. I mean, I just don't really trust the flat Earth side because they can be deceiving. That's just
when Flatzoid deleted those frames from that video.
Exactly. I mean,
we can go on and on.
Well, and the fact that you say, "Oh, it's swamp refraction," I looked up Lake Pontchartrain. Don't see it's. I don't see a lot of the. I mean, I looked up other pictures of Lake Pontchartrain, and I don't see any glare or refraction or glaze or anything like that. It's just like a normal lake.
Well, you can see it in the pylons. They've taken a picture of the electrical pylons and they curve back in on themselves with obvious refractive effects. And so I'm quite comfortable stating swamp gas and the Earth's refraction with the swamp gas mucking up from the lake itself, or cold and warm water merging, or salt and fresh water merging, or something to that effect. Now with the Nodell thing, that goes to the supposed movement of this pagan ball Earth, but that could just be the movement of the ether. The ether, of course, being what is currently known as space-time, or the substance of space, being a thick, treacly, fudgy substance that is swirling over and around us, with us on the flat, motionless plane being at the eye of the storm, giving some sort of gyro precession. And so there's a different way to even interpret that. The moving ball isn't the only game in town with that. So at that point, all we just need is another interpretation.
Can you hold that up, please? Whoever comes. I just got a quick question in between here for Lemonbird, and this is a super chat by Sean Smith. Thank you very much, sir. Hey, Lemon, how far away does the warping matter for these optics, and have you tested it?
I haven't tested it, no. But we know that all lenses suffer from some form of barrel distortion, or if you want to get more technical, pincushion distortion. Basically, curvature is added by the lens also. And so we need to look into that as well.
Well, fair. But I mean, the other deception too flat earthers have done is they have made, you're kind of pretty much just following whatever Eric Dubay says. And it's like, if you've been in this flat earth thing for 6 years, you keep saying like, oh, I need to look into it. Every time you say that, it's like you're repeating the same thing over and over. Have you really looked into it? Because I've been in the flat earth, debunking thing for maybe 2 or 3 years, and I've looked into it, and it seems like your side is just full of nothingness. And I'm trying not to cuss right now because I'm about to go to work, so I just don't want to be in a bad mood.
Well, most of Dubay's stuff comes from Robotham, and there are other flat earthers that show some very interesting stuff. Subphotonic appears to show Ketu and Rahu, the dark stars that appear to be overtaking the moon and causing some level of shadowing or eclipsing. You can see what appears to be a slow-moving body moving past the moon and a fast-moving body in the background. So Subphotonic appeared to have shown Ketu and Rahu before his channel was taken down. And so there are other flat earthers as well that are talking about this, that, or the third. Eric Dubay isn't the only game in town, but it's hard to know that with the level of YouTube censorship burying the results at the bottom of the feed unless you're savvy enough to get past their renovated algorithms that put all the good flat earth stuff under a bunch of debunking videos at the top.
Lemon, I've got a quick question, if I may. I just want to make sure your understanding of lens distortion is correct, because it doesn't seem to stick. When you say lens distortion can create curvature, in straight lines, it absolutely can, either convex or concave. It doesn't really matter. It is actually a 2D effect, though. It's not depth-based, it's 2D. Now, do you think the lens can be responsible for creating the effect of geometric curvature? And by that, I mean something moves away and then disappears from the bottom as it's following an apparent curve while going down. Do you think the lens can create that depth-based effect?
I don't know. I mean, the closest a curved lens causing that sort of effect I've seen is with Skiba showing some sort of paper sun that appears to set in some sort of Fresnel lens. But I don't see some sort of curved horizon. Nothing like that. So I guess I'd have to say no.
No, that's very good. And I absolutely agree with you. With a Fresnel lens, absolutely you can do that, except you can only do that at the point of convergence of that lens. Left, right, up or down, shit falls apart, so it can't be that. So you guys need to figure out why when something goes away, it goes down at the rate of curvature for the planet.
Well, that appears to be as far the closest explanation I can explain is diffraction, because the light ray string that you pull from the top of the object and the light ray string that you pull from the bottom of the object and pull through your eye and cross appear to have this zone where the light ray strings cross and make a horizon, where there's nothing but light interference as you take the object further and further away from you and stretch these strings crossing through your eye or your pupil or the aperture of the camera.
Right, so there's 2 points that I've got here. One is, do you know diffraction is lessened or actually irrelevant if you open up the aperture of a camera lens? So in other words, very tight apertures, let's say long, high focal f-stop numbers like f22, yes, you might have a problem. Step it down to f16, you absolutely don't have a problem. f8, not even there. So you don't, this is something you can control, and people do. And in outside environments, at long distances, you probably have it at about f16, maybe f8. So diffraction's not a thing there. And when you say light converges, do you know that every camera lens, well, actually, I say every, most, the absolute majority of camera lenses make sure that the light actually inverts by crossing a center focal point. So every bit of light that comes in intersects with every bit of light and then creates an opposite image, just like it does in our eye, and it does it uniformly. So diffraction limit, pointless if we open up the aperture to, let's say, f16 or f8. And the convergence argument of light hitting each other, yes, every bit of light hits every other bit of light as it's crossing the focal point. Well done. That's also irrelevant. So now, why does an object go down when it goes away from us at the same rate that we'd expect it to with curvature?
Well, objects appear to ramp downward due to perspective. And so it looked like, because you're too close to the surface, effectively the top part of the visual field, the top part being, gentlemen, the part that appears to ramp down, appears to be ramping down more dramatically than normal. It's still approaching the level of the eyes and nothing's physically crossing anything, but the eye just interprets it as ramping down dramatically and eventually being cut off bottom first because of the vicissitudes of vision. There's nothing physically happening. It's all optical. Right. And you would need to check if it's physical with, yet again, a laser hitting a hump of Earth curve.
No, we don't need to do that. So, is it fair to, can you tell me whether you agree with the following statement? Perspective is just the change in angular size, and in our case, vertically and laterally, with distance, correct? That's it. There's no other elements involved, correct?
Yes.
Wicked. So no proximity to any other surface is going to alter that fact, right?
No.
Brilliant. So if I've got a 1 meter box on a flat surface and the bottom of that box has got lovely little beads on it and it goes away from me, there is no way for that flat surface to cover those beads due to perspective if I'm above the flat, motionless plane, correct?
Sure.
Right, so drop the word perspective from all of this now.
No.
And now let's go.
A 6 foot object will vanish just like a 6 foot zone of visual space will vanish. What determines the size of the visual space that you're looking through? You guessed it, the distance off of the surface. So if you're 6 foot tall, you're effectively looking through a 6 foot block of visual space that will vanish just like that 6 foot broom. That is where the surface comes in. It limits the height of the visual space that you're peering through. Because to get the height of the visual space that you're looking through, guess what you have to do? Get the height off of the surface. And that's where the surface, be it the wall, the ceiling, or the floor, comes in.
Right. So you missed my point entirely. So we're saying something ramps up if it's below this 6 foot level, correct?
I'll go with your bad logic just to be polite and conversational, sure.
Okay, why is it bad logic? If due to the laws of perspective with distance, I'm looking along a parallel line in relation to the surface of the water, and it's a beautiful, flat, motionless, flat Earth, and an object moves away from me, something below my eye line is always going to raise up to it, correct? Or no? If you don't agree with that, tell me why you don't. because this is a new phenomenon that we need to discuss. Oh, Lemon. Yeah, probably bad reception.
You might have broken him, maybe.
I said, yeah. I'm just waiting for you to move this along.
Yeah, sorry. It was, well, no, if you don't agree, it's a sticking point, and we should clarify it. If you don't agree that
Anytime
something
I
below the
disagree,
line,
you just put out more of the same old stuff that we disagree with, and then that's going to lead to another point that I disagree with, and we'll never get done. So I'm just trying to get you to finish up here.
all right, so why just let's stick on this then. Forget everything else. So something below my vision will not ramp up towards my eye line if I'm looking. The center of my vision is parallel 6 foot off the surface of this beautiful flat motionless Earth. Something below it is not going to ramp up. Can you tell me why that would be? Because I've heard your corridor analogy.
I agreed. I do agree.
Okay, brilliant. Is there any circumstance where that would not be true?
As far as I can tell, that doesn't. It ramps up toward the level of the eyes. That's what happens.
Wicked, fantastic. So the issue that I've got is, let's get that 1 meter block and let's divide it by half, and we've got a red bit and we'll call that the hull of a boat. We've got the white bit, which is the top of the boat. Now, instead of stood 6 foot high, let's make it 50 foot high. So we're above this boat. Instead of it being a meter, make it 50 foot. Now, the top of that boat should never leave the level of my vision relation to the ground or the surface of the water due to perspective. And the bottom should only come upwards in my 2D vision, it all being concentrated to the lower half of my vision. However, we have a problem in reality. It does come up, and then at the tangent of the horizon, that's going down as it moves away at the same rate that we would expect due to curvature. Can you explain that without word salad, please?
Compressed visual angle.
What does that mean, since the angular size of the vessel is predictable, uniform, and both relationally equal up and below that center line of the object that I just said?
The light ray that comes from the top of the boat crisscrosses the light ray coming from the bottom of the boat as these light ray strings are pulled through your eye. There is a place where they cross and you have no resolution of the image. That is where the horizon tends to form and the visual information is dropped and it appears to set bottom first, even though there's nothing physically in the way of what you're looking at with the boat. It is just compressed visual angle. That is all.
Awesome. So for that statement to be true, is it fair to assume that the horizon is an optical artifact that actually happens inside of the lens? Is that correct?
It's an optical artifact. Where it occurs, we'd have to go with different theories of the eye. Does it occur in the lens? Does it occur out in space? Does it occur in the brain? That's a mystery, but it's some sort of optical effect at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, like a camera lens, so it has to happen inside the camera lens because that's the only point where the light actually converges and inverses, at the focal point. So, and I'm actually, I'm with you so far. The problem that I've got with your logic here is to produce a straight line, there'd have to be a cause for that straight line. And in a radially symmetrical aspherical lens element, I'm wondering where that line comes from.
You tell me. I don't even know if light's path has a shape where it can bend. I would go with light being induction, not something that's like a string that can bend around a ball. By induction, I mean something like you see in a stadium where all of the people are induced to make the wave. Do you touch your neighbor to get them to get up and make the wave in the stadium? No. They all know what to do and they participate in the activity to spread the wave. That's the way that I think of light. Is anything necessarily traveling with a shape like a string? No. It's just a bunch of induction where, I don't know, the ether or the objects are simply induced to vibrate in a certain way and shine off the light. I would go with induction rather than something traveling like a shaped string So I tend to form different theories of optics, refraction, and whatever the hell is going on here. Maybe the lens is induced to shine or produce the image or whatever. Maybe the space between you and the object is induced to form the image. That way, nothing is really shaped or curving. It's just induction. That would be like talking about the wave in the stadium curving as it reaches the end of the stadium. That would be absurd. So I go with different theories of optics at that point.
So literally, you didn't answer my question, and you just went different, something else, maybe crowd, wave, different. In a maybe I used the wrong word. In a squished sphere-like surface optic element that is radially symmetrical, how do I form some kind of straight line? No matter how many of these I use, they are symmetrical. And radially so. So the graduation of the surface in any single perfect direction.
There's no straight line. There's no straight line to curve at all, or a straight line period. Just a bunch of induction. That's it.
Okay, so how does induction produce out of a aspherical, radially symmetrical lens element a straight line for me, please, laterally?
It doesn't. It forms a line that's straight enough for you to be like it's straight enough. That's it.
Okay, so where does this straight enough line come from out of this aspherical, radially symmetrical lens elements?
Induction. A more or less uninterrupted path of induction.
Okay, can you tell me how that induction within this glass element forms a semi or kind of like or so-so straight line that we call the horizon, please?
Like I said before, you pull one string of light from the top of the visual zone, one string from the bottom, they cross, a horizon will form of nothing but light interference. And it will tend to form more and more as you take the object away from you. And these strings eventually appear to do nothing more than merge together into an unresolvable horizon line. That's
Excuse me, Tingray, I gotta take this order. By Prono 1990, thank you very much for the super chat. Can I get an order of an lemon bird with extra word salad, with an extra ranch, with 2 large Diet Pepsi and extra ice, and a large bottle of Captain Morgan? Pronon, your order is being processed. Thank you very much for the super chat. Stingray, go.
Well, since your eyes are glazing over and you're not really listening to what I say, I'm going to need you to stop me when you don't understand something then, so that maybe we can work through this together.
Yeah. So, what I don't understand is when you say these strings converge and the light converges, do we agree that the light in a lens comes in and same in the eye gets inverted? And the reason it does that is that aspherical shape converges the light down to a single point that then inverts and comes out the cone upside down. Can we both agree that every single lens on the planet and our eyes do this?
Yeah, we see that happen in the camera obscura.
Brilliant. So the interesting thing here is, why doesn't that produce absolute smush then, if light colliding with light can create a horizon?
The image forms on the back of the camera obscura, the retina, or the camera, though. The light crosses at that focal point, yes, but it still has to be focused on the back of the camera. If you had a line that goes straight through that focal point, you would tend to have a horizon in the middle where there's no separation of the light up and down into a 2D image. So where there's no light separation, essentially, you would tend to get a horizon that would form.
Right. So the interesting thing there, I'm trying to get to the bottom of this now, Lemon, is you're saying that a boat that should clearly be seen due to the angular size calculations, let's say of a P1000, 2000 millimeter equivalent focal length, which actually has a slightly sub 1 degree field of view, I should be able to see a vessel at about 15 miles full frame, yeah, at the 14 megapixels or whatever the hell it is. But I don't. I have to. The boat has to be closer, and I'm missing the bottom half. So, what aspect is making me miss the bottom half? Does it take? Is it something that happens outside of the lens? something that happens inside of the lens or something that happens on the sensor? You're welcome, fam.
No one's going to answer?
The vessel is going, whee!
I think a flat earther would have to say all of the above.
Yeah. Well, as the scientific method would dictate, then my answer would be pick the one that you think has the most magnitude, and let's wiggle it and find out.
Okay, let's play as an advocate. The outside the lens.
Outside the lens.
Yeah.
You'd have to be able to explain to me what's happening outside the lens to do this.
Well, remember the squishing and the smushing?
Yes.
sorry. This is outside of the lens.
Yes.
So it comes together in that manner to the sensor through the lens.
Yeah. So the issue there, Grim. So the issue there, Grim, is quite simply, if it happens outside the lens, there's still a cause-effect scenario there. Is it the distance? Is it the angle? Is it the angular size? Is it the proximity to something else? Is it the age of my mother? I need to find out what is causing this so that I can vary that to demonstrate that it's true.
Okay, first of all, what size shoes are you wearing? No, sorry, it's just gonna get goofy. How do you do that, right? I mean, without coming up with an actual physical model of what you're trying to explain, as if the photons behave in this way when compressed by this much that, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't see any of those variables giving me any good, outside of what we already know.
An interesting experiment would be to explain that the photons are interacting with each other. But then an interesting hypothesis would be that. But then,
don't we have some weird optical effects? Like if you take one eye and you take your finger and you look at your finger and then you put it up against something that's further off in the distance, you get this little blurry edge of your finger. You know what I mean? And it sort of like melds into the object.
What
does that affect? Because could that be a smaller scale of what we're looking at optically?
No, because
Stingray. Think about the answer. Just to phrase that. I just got a message from my mom bakes cakes for you, Stingray. Thank you very much, my mom bakes cakes. Well done to Stingray yet again, taking lemon on once again and roasting him. Shout out to you, mom bakes cakes, and shout out to Stingray. Well done.
Yes, so Graham, the issue with that is I'm a big proponent of saying let's not communicate what we see with words because that's the worst possible fucking thing we could do. Let's use a measuring device like a sensor and an optic that we control, that is universal, that we can also baseline. You cannot baseline my vision. You cannot baseline my words.
Agreed. Yeah.
I can baseline your words, Stingray. What do you mean?
How much you try, you can't baseline the words that are describing the image that I'm seeing. Put it that way.
I'm baselining that you're talking.
I mean, if we talked enough and we got to familiar with each other enough, so ideas and things, I could pretty much reach into where the picture you're trying to paint me.
Yeah, psychologically, I'm pretty sure that's true, but visually, no, you can't, because I'm actually wearing corrective lens elements to correct a lens distortion.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not about philosophically.
I'm the kind of guy who actually sees a picture. Like when I'll close my eyes while you're talking and build the thing you're saying. Like, and so that's what I meant by like I can see it, but I don't see the exact thing you see. We don't see the same colors together. All that, I get that.
I think it'd be wacky as hell if we could get two, very tight lasers and fire them perpendicular and intersecting and actually produce an effect that is at all of a magnitude whereby it could do something significant.
Well, I mean, we know that it's viable to think about in certain aspects, right? But because we have electrons we have systems with electrons that can get really, really tight and not allow other electrons out or in. You know, like in a shell.
The issue, that's why I said, Grim, that I'm not. My statement is not that that is unaffected, because that would be. I think scientifically that would be wrong. I'm saying to an effect, to a magnitude that we would be able to comprehend and read and measure now. It isn't. So that, and when we're talking about forming a horizon line out of nothing, we
so
need
far
a
away.
hell of a magnitude to do that. Jesus,
Yeah,
that's
incredible. The sun.
I think we're gonna do it. 69 watching, 69. That's the magic number, and we hit it. 69 people watching, and I'm like, yeah, overwhelmed. I'm amazed. You know, small channel like this one, considerably, just 1,020 subscribers. That's pretty much what we have, and it's a big audience. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody for being here and supporting by watching and hitting the like and for sharing the show. I know somebody shared the show around. Boom. Yeah, I'm about to wrap it up in about 10 minutes.
I was just
in about 10
fill in
minutes
the
we'll go.
blanks.
Yeah, we'll do final thoughts. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, if you build it, they will come.
For any new watchers out there, I'm not actually a flat earther, just trying to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Easy way to test Lemon's ridiculous notion of how light clashes and creates horizons is just to look at your reflection in a spoon. It's the same thing you were trying to get him to discuss, obviously, with the way the lens inverts the image.
Off topic a little, Stingray. Stingray was the thing I linked to.
No, not a wooden spoon, Lemon. Sorry.
I actually,
I'm kidding.
I'm not quite sure there's such a thing as radial symmetry either. It's uniform it's a uniform aspherical shape rather than radially symmetrical. But I'm writing a tool at the moment where I've actually used the words radially symmetrical, so I used it there as well. Just saying.
Hey, Stingray.
Why? Because there are no perfect spheres in
No, because I don't think I'm going to do it first. No, because in the tool, I came up with a way. It's actually it's a procedural retail product modeling system, and I wanted a way to classify different types of shapes with different attributes that mean quite a lot. And one of them is, I just came up with it, a bottle, a can, they're radial symmetry. In other words, in that single axis with a single revolve, you can produce that shape given a curve profile. But I don't know whether radial symmetry actually is a thing. I'm just going to search now.
You just coined a new word. If it isn't, figure it out.
Stingray. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can. But wait a minute, Lyle. It is actually a word, but I did actually pluck it out my ass. Well, it is actually a saying and a term, but I did pluck it out my ass. But it's just true as well. So
it was intuitive. It felt like it made sense. You know, when you said it, it felt intuitively correct. So.
I took a quick cursory look
to
on
accept
Google.
the new term just now. I was like, if you just coined that, I'm ready to accept that. Like, my vote's in. Sorry, go ahead. I can't stop interrupting you.
Stingray. I did a quick Google Scholar search on radial symmetry, and there's tons of stuff on it, like 1.8 million hits.
Yeah, we just figured that out.
But
that's literally what we're kind of just talking about. It's already a word.
But this so my description of it isn't the same. Oh, so okay, so balls. So radial symmetry. No, I should have used spherical symmetry in my example. Radial symmetry does fit.
Why I said spheres. Yeah, that's why I said there was no perfect spheres. You know, because there's no perfect spheres. I was trying to figure out why you were saying that.
Stingray, quick cursory look for spherical symmetry. First hit gravitational energy and spherical symmetry.
Yeah, the problem is they've got here organic shapes or structured shapes like Like crystal stars with a 5-pointed star, you can class as having radial symmetry because it is symmetrical at 5 intersections. But that's not what I was trying to describe. So I was a little bit wrong.
But
I'm still ready to accept it.
Back to the other question. Was that link that I gave you? Was that link that I gave you earlier what you were looking for?
I had a cursory glance, and I would say no because it's for a specific type of receiver. It does mention. I have to look at the structures a little bit more. It does mention about receiving frequency, but it's built for a receiver chip, and it's the analog to digital conversion of that this is reading, and what I'm on about is just raw. Oh, wait a minute! No, sorry.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah, no, sorry. 90% yes, Lyle. Chris. So yes, 90% yes.
I just have to dig up the 10%.
You don't even need that.
I need to look into it more. It could be, but the thing is, this structure and what actually happens is emulated through not through the chip, but it's an emulation of a PIC chip, basically. So I've got to look at what it's actually doing, which is the 10%.
There you go. YouTube links, Stingray. Spherical symmetry. That has 2.2, almost 2.3 million hits.
Yeah, I mean, my use of it wasn't wrong. It does actually fit a spherical lens element or a spherical lens element. It's infinitely radially symmetrical, but I should have used spherical symmetry.
But I knew what you meant, so yeah. I painted the picture you still wanted me to paint in your mind.
So
see,
here's a question.
See how even you confuse even sometimes the wrong terminology with somebody who's kind of on your wavelength. They can still build what it is you're trying to build.
You know how Lemon always goes off on lasers and collimation of lasers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he rejects math. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't collimating a laser deal with mathematical formulas?
He doesn't reject math. I've seen him there a lot of times.
Yeah, Lemon uses math.
Yeah. You're talking about everybody else.
He rejects it when it like when we're talking about me at Walmart looking at the door frame, walking backwards. How far do I have to go back before the door appears to touch the ground? He rejects math when using that as an evidence that the Earth is not flat, because the horizon and his whole doorway smushing thing doesn't work.
I don't think he rejects the math. I think he rejects your interpretation of how you added math to dictate what's happening and not the actual observation. I don't think it's the math.
My observation is that it would take a long time going backwards before that door frame would appear to touch the ground.
Well, how long is a long time?
Well, I'm not going to try it because I run into a wall and I can't walk through walls yet. Will you teach me how to do that, Grim?
Well, you got to watch Ministeric go. It's at least several times.
I've just heard with your Electric Universe thing, you've also learned how to walk through walls.
No, not yet, man. We can phase through the barrier.
Which barrier?
Yeah, we can send satellites right through the dome, the plasmasphere around the Earth. The magnetosphere, dude.
Is Magneto like the supervillain? Magneto you're talking about?
Don't be afraid of Magneto.
Oh
It's
no,
magnetosphere.
he's very magnetic.
It's magnetosphere. God, never mind, bro. And I was just like, I'm just petting a dead cat.
And I'm kicking the dead cat.
No, I'm just petting it.
You gotta pet the puppy.
That's spookier. That's weirder, isn't it?
Okay.
Sorry, Stingray. Oh, he left.
Stingray.
Uh-oh. You want me to screen share you?
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, you want to screen share for the audience, Stingray?
Well, I want to. I need. I think what I was going to. I'm gonna. I'm gonna. I'm Brian Lickett.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
You want it harder, baby?
No, I just thought people might find this interesting. I'm actually fucking this up at the moment through various different means. But the light smushing and speed of light and stuff would really hinder me in what I'm doing at the moment. So here we've got an image. This is on my desk, by the way. Yes, it's dusty. Jesus Christ. But then I get that as well, and that's depth. And I'm just coloring it based off these. Well, I'm just doing a hue shift and normalizing the near and far distance. Normalizing it based on the near and far distance in the depth buffer of a LiDAR sensor, and just matching it up to the. Yeah, I've got stuff to do with this, and it's pissing me off at the moment. But I just thought people might be interested, because if Lemon's postulations were true, I'd be more fucked than I am right now.
My question to you is...
Oh, look, that is kind of crazy, huh? Look, see the horizon there? Yeah.
How does the speed of light affect you? I mean, the speed of light is the speed of light.
Well, a LiDAR is a time-of-flight sensor, so it fires a pulse and reads a pulse. And I get 40 blah 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 thousand returns, which is what this sensor is giving me. It's actually, believe it or not, that's a lie.
Hey Stingray, I've seen people doing this with the, the Xbox 3D camera.
Oh yeah.
Because it does it with UV dots that can be mapped across the room, and it does basically the same thing, and that's how it depth maps. Blood clever.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know whether I should say this. Yeah, fuck it. So a long time ago, and I don't know, more than 9 years, less than 16. I was at one of our. I worked in game development, and we got we had an R&D department. I had access to it in my position, and I said, "Oh, what are you working on? Oh, and what's all these boxes?" And they said, "Oh, it's an optic-based Israeli tracking system by a company that also develops it for missile systems." And they're like, "Oh, right, cool. Why have we got it here? Oh, it's Microsoft might want us to do something with it." And I'm like, "Oh, wicked. I'll look forward to seeing it." And I walked out, and then 3 months later, we hadn't done anything with it. It was still in the box. And we could have been on stage with Microsoft on their keynote bringing out the first Xbox Kinect if we'd have actually got our asses in gear. We got the early prototype from Israel. Really annoying.
Missed opportunity there, man.
Yeah, missed. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think we. I think. Wait a minute. Who? I think Lionhead Studios got up there, and they're a bunch of. Well, Peter Molyneux is not a great person, so I wouldn't have wanted to be up there anyway. But I've got to do all I'm doing with this is the weird thing is the view plane of the camera, because this is direct from an iPhone 12 Pro Max. It's actually got a LiDAR sensor on it. The resolution is a lot less than what you see here, but what it actually does is it uses machine learning to upsample based off the actual RGB as well. So it does actually take depth-based information, but then it uses a very fast neural network to predict and increase the resolution of the depth map to make it a little bit nicer. And, you know, out of the LiDAR, you won't get this curved, this curvedness here. This is actually put on by it looking at a very fast neural network, looking at this, going, okay, and then looking at the very pixelated version of this and making this more like it while understanding the depth. So yeah, and what an object is. Just interesting. And I'm glad there's no smushing in this, or else I'd be royally fucked.
The most fascinating thing I've seen recently around neural nets is they've been getting DeepMind involved in fusion reactors to get fusion working. And DeepMind's figured out how it can literally shape the plasma inside the reactor into different shapes. Flipping. So that, yeah, they can now literally just say, right, I want like a teardrop shape for the plasma, and DeepMind go, yeah, no worries, I'll sort that out for you. And it just adjusts the electromagnetic field inside the reactor to reshape the plasma as it's spinning around at ridiculous speeds and at 12 million degrees centigrade or whatever it is.
Nice.
Crazy.
I think in one of the articles I did come across that. I just didn't read it. I'll stick to my retail object classification and object detection for my neural networks at the moment.
I'm ready to get out of here. You guys, it's been solid 3 hours probably on the show now. I started at 11. It's 2 p.m. A few extra minutes, over 3 hours. It was good. It was fun, entertaining. It was very diverse today. We touched into a lot of topics. But it's always funny to have Chris Berry, going at it a little bit. Lemon Bear was in. All kinds of fun. And the video earlier about the water level, the sea level was the video about. Everything was good. I really appreciate everybody's support on YouTube who hit me up on Super Chat today. That was good. It was fun. Thanks everybody. If anybody shared the show, we had 60 plus people watching at one point. It's solid there for like half an hour solid, almost 70 people watching. That was really good. And thank you everybody to all the panelists that were here. Big shout out to all of you that were here earlier and had to leave, and shout out to y'all that are still here. We are going to go down alphabetical order. Final thoughts. Okay, you're up.
Shout out to Berry and Lemon for once again showing that they don't understand scale, geometry, physics, optics, coordinate systems, you name it. It's all just over their head. However, they still think they know enough to argue absolutely every aspect of science. Amazing people. Anyway, not much else you can say about these people. I will leave it at that. And cheers again, Jose. See you later.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Looking at myself, I think I'm gonna shave my head, and I'm gonna trim the beard, like take all of it. I'm gonna clean up again. This year I'm probably gonna stay clean, facial clean. It's just, I don't know, 1 year, one on, one off. I was gonna leave the beard 1 year. Last year was the beard of the year of the beard. This year I gotta clean it up. Fuck that. Brian Mabe, do you want to give some final thoughts? You come in late, but you got a message for the audience listening.
I have got a message for your listening audience, yes. Please understand that this server is set up by a government to keep you on this ludicrous spinning ball. This is what their jobs are. This is what they're paid to do. Please take that into your thinking when you decide what the hell we live on. Why are they putting in so much effort to try and hide this? Why are they paying people, and there are dozens of them turning up every week now, because they want you to be kept in the dark. That is my message. I just come in here now to have a little chuckle at people that have got a ludicrous belief that they live on a spinning ball. So I've turned the tables now. You're the ones that are being laughed at. You're believing complete and utter nonsense. So
Brian, I got it.
What?
I got a message for you. Do you see me?
Yeah.
La cámara is on.
Yeah. There you go. You can tell it. Just watch the super chats and make a little list of who pays what, and it all comes apparent.
Oh man, funny stuff. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Hey, feedback is excellent.
Trying to hide the truth from you.
The frog is saying your name. He's go Mobbit. Shout out to you, Brian Mobbit. Yeah.
My name.
Hang in there, bro. For the just hang in there. Talk to the people after we go offline. I gotta get out of here. I'm hungry, bro. Fred, final thoughts. All right, let's go with Grubus.
Yeah, good stuff as always, Jose. Catch you tomorrow.
Thank you. Mars Mushrooms. Marble Merman. Final thoughts.
Well, again, it's just another day of Lemon Bird showing that he doesn't understand anything. And just a nice good show. Sorry for my interruptions again. I did not mean to do that. I'm terribly sorry. And to Brian, I told you, like from yesterday, I work at a restaurant. I don't work for NASA. So please get that information right. Boom time. I'm out.
Boom. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All is good. All is good. The Cheap Professor. I want to hear your final thoughts, man.
I'm reading a funny book where I got the name from. It talks about finding a sheep that sort of enters inside people and like possesses them. and it's also in a picture, and guess how many sheep are in that picture. There were supposed to be 32. That's the 33rd sheep. Some deep messaging there.
Good. Boom, man. Good to hear you, brother. Then we got the Stingray.
Yeah, good show, Jose. I encourage all planet Earthers in the current science understanding and reality who contribute to society and have got things like careers and progressive lives that mean something to other people. I encourage them all, out of entertainment purposes only, to dig deep into the beliefs of flat earthers and ask them to explain. And a very key thing that I used to do, because I'm quite dumb, but I used to learn to ask questions until there's no more questions to ask. If you do this to a flat earther, they fall down very easily and very quickly and very hard. Cheers, Jose.
Cheers, the Stingray. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And the Mr. Grimm. Final thoughts?
Yeah, Jose, thanks for having me on again, man. Final thoughts for me would be, check that Israel vitamin D, that vitamin D study that they did, and check your vitamin D levels if you're worried about COVID.
We call it the big coof.
Well, it doesn't matter what we call it. I didn't say anything that was controversial.
Yeah, just the term, just the word, man. Forbidden here. Refuse to mention the C word and the V word. All of that healthy stuff, health issues stuff. I've refused to entertain the topic, man. Okay. I thought about earlier when this shit came out. I entertained, they're doing debates and talk about it, but fucking no. I saw people just getting crazy and going places with it and just losing their mind. I said, fuck it. I don't want to get the words out of people in the call, in the chat box. It's just not worth it for me. It's a lot of places that is being talked about. So I just don't want to talk about issues that can mentally
Jose,
affect
these
us.
are my final words, right?
Yeah, but still, the rules, we don't talk about.
I already said them. Yeah, they're done. You're the only one continuing on about it. I said them. I didn't say too much. I wouldn't put you at risk.
You say the word.
The final words be those final words, though. Check your vitamin D levels. That is important, dude.
Oh, because of the morbid. Yeah, you say morbid. I heard something else. Yeah, that was it. Thank you very much, Mr. Grimm. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been Jose J.G. Gonzalez out. Boom. Thank you.